If it wasn't for the fact that Rogue Trader just got a new DLC, I would deadass be streaming Look Outside. Like, given that Joel has finished the game recently, I watched a bit of the VOD. Yeah, I've been very tempted to play Look Outside. Maybe I actually will. Maybe I will tomorrow. Who knows? Like, it's such a good game from what I'm hearing and seeing, and it's gory, and, well, usually I'm not a very gore person, but, I mean, it is kind of gory, it's more like eldritch horror kind of, ugh. But hello, Titanium Sword, good evening. Also, I need to have YouTube chat open. Okay, where were we last time? Oh yeah, we got the new guy in. Oh, I think there was something on Footfall. There was something about go to the dude. The dude. Yeah. I don't think I really have Eogun out much. There is one more character, like one or two more characters I'm interested in, but that's about it, really. But how are we doing on this Saturday evening? Hello, Opticon22. I have collected planetary data that may interest you. With a respectful nod, the tech priest takes the data slate. To collect the data is of interest, significant, compliant with the criteria for cooperation. The Cognizance Fleet thanks you for your contribution and guarantees the provision of reciprocal service and indulgence in the form of parts and equipment. Reporting, the Kappa Threat supply line is ready to continue cooperation with the Van Valancius dynasty in the sphere of planetary reconnaissance. We're doing well on this Saturday, hell yeah. How many more do I get? Oh, honey. Door is open. Yes, there's many doors. Hey, honey mouse. Hey, honey mouse. Me var det mat. Dogge. Me var molot. 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 You want your belly rub? You get your belly rub. Yo. What's the matter? You don't want belly rub? No, you very much want the belly rubs. What is this? Oh. You want the belly rubs? You get the belly rubs. Molot. Mill. Okay. Actually, given it is quite hot right now, let me actually turn on the fan because it's actually getting warm again. Anivo, honey. Right. Wait, that is going in the right direction. Right. And one. It's still not pointing to the right direction. Oi, oi, oi. I don't know if my microphone picked up that part. Jesus, that was a loud ass part. Oh, my fan still isn't pointing in the right direction. Okay. Right. Sorry about that, but my dog came into the room and I kind of have to, you know, the doggy. Honey. Oh, honey, there is no ball. But hello, Nosp. I'm glad to hear you're doing well on this Saturday. I have bought some beer today. Honey mouse. Honey money. And the one I'm trying right now is, not very good. Oh, honey, now she wants to leave. Honey. Not many. She comes into my room, attempts to sleep, can't find her place, doesn't attempt to, like... My fan still isn't pointing towards me correctly. Although this is gonna point like this. Okay, so... This should do. Okay. And it does. Okay. She does it? No, it doesn't. Fuck's sake. Is it better now? Give me a sec. Huh? Fucking chair over here. Okay, this seems to be blowing in the right direction. Is it blowing in the right direction? It is indeed, finally. It is blowing the right direction. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. My apologies. Okay, and it isn't getting picked up by the microphone. Okay. Sorry. Oh, what is this? Whenever a shot hits cover instead of the wearer, the attacker gains +3 stacks of exploit. The user's base partial cover efficiency equal to the full cover efficiency. Okay. Wait, by +7? Mark 1? Oh, and it's based on strength. Oh, well. Camera damage. When the wearer hits an enemy with a melee attack, the wearer nearest ally gains +5 temporary wounds. Okay. Deathworld Origin, Light Carapace. It gives 10 agility, damn. And when the wearer has 75% or more wounds, their deflection is increased by +3 and their parry is increased by +12. Okay. There's actually a few very good things in there. I think Abelard could kind of use this. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a bit better on him. Factotum Yandris, okay. Opticon, anything here. Transonic Cannon, Manipulus. This cannon grants Eogun the Transonic Wave ability. It doesn't count towards the attack limit, but this augment is considered to be in a dexterous insertion. Eogun cannot suffer crippled right arm. Okay. Touch of the Omnisci. All targets hit with an arc rifle, magritte, blast, or transonic wave. Okay. Precise lasgun. Cerebral hollow ocular. If the user moved during their turn, for every 10 points of the perception bonus, one tactical simulacrum appears in a random cell adjacent to the current position. The tactical simulacrum rules are equal to 1 and cannot dodge, parry, block, or take cover. Okay, cool. I don't know what that means. Power axe. Yeah, it's a one-handed weapon. Galvanic Inductor Mock Warrior. On hit, attacks with melee weapons inflict galvanic resonance for 1 round. This effect deals 0, 3 times number of Ferrum Sanctum stacks, damage with 29% armor pen to all creatures adjacent to the creature under its effect, and 2 times more damage to the effect from the user. When combat uses under the Galvanic Resonance effect. Okay, what does that even mean? All units in a 3-star radius around the user except themselves affected by Galvanic Resonance suffer 0 shock damage. Okay. Invigorating resolve. Whenever the wearer and allies in a 2-star radius gain momentum, those gain an equal amount of temporary wounds. Heavy plasma gun. Okay, nothing too crazy in here. Cosbelic emission. Neural system graft. The user deals 35% number of users as traumas, more melee damage, and gains more deflection. So the more traumas the guy has, the more it does. Okay. Sure. Fellowship of the Void. What the fuck? Brain implant. The user's weapon damage is calculated using their intelligence instead of strength, and ballistic skill instead of weapon skill if those characteristics are higher. What the fuck? Okay. Interesting. The user attacks with a weapon in this hand inflict +3 levels of toxin and a toxic saturation effect that stacks. When this creature dies, it explodes, dealing toxic damage with armor pen to... This might actually kind of be good on Pujan. Because Pujan does melee attacks a lot. Set for galvanization. Some augments have galvanization abilities with powerful effects. Only one augment can be set for galvanization, making its ability available in combat. I don't have YouTube chat open. In combat, a galvanization icon is displayed on the action bar next to heroic act and desperate measures. It can only be used once per combat. Using galvanization abilities grants powerful effects, but it can also inflict negative effects on the user, making them suffer additional damage, reduce their characteristics, otherwise penalize them. Okay. Oi, lots of stuff. Provides voidship weapons with targeting. Well, let's just check that out when I'm checking the various ammunition. Yes, cool. The sheep. Okay, these are the ones I already have. Long range broadside. I mean, long range would be good. So what I currently have is provides voidship weapons with targeting data, granting 80% hit chance and 5% critical hit chance. Oh, this is just straight up better. Okay. Allows flak shots to be fired from kinetic macro cannons. A flak shot deals 15 damage to each target in a 3x3 area. I mean, I don't want to get rid of the interceptors. Those are really like hull integrity increased by 10. Wait, this one. Hull integrity. Wait, it's just like how much HP it can take, right? Oh yeah, I'm okay with not using that. Assault ceramide plating protects the vessel from harm, negating 9 points of damage on the 4 and 5 points on all other sides. Oh, this is better. Straight up better. Medium range lance weapon dealing 60 to 70 damage to a chosen enemy within a wide firing arc. Wait, that's just straight up better than the Mazoa lance weapon that I have. Torpedo tubes capable of firing 5 plasma torpedoes. Okay, that's just straight up better. Short range dorsal macro cans will fire 2 shots, dealing 21 damage per shot. These do 3 shots, but I have more range. Nah, I prefer the damage. Development posts. You know, everything here looks the part. Yeah, I want to see what I can buy. Is there anything here? Precise bolter, large medkit, torment bracelets. If the word deals damage to an enemy... Oh wait, that's heretical. Never mind. Phew, this is super expensive. Outcast's visor. Eldari. Dark Visionary Hood. This hood grants the wearer +10 bonus to willpower and +15% to psychic and navigator powers, but inflicts a -10 penalty to weapon skill and ballistic skill. Well, that would be good for Lysandra. Rusty Heavy Rock Soul. The character gains +2 MP at the start of combat and +1 MP at the start of each subsequent turn. Reconstructed Flamer Pistol. When hit by this weapon, all melee attacks against the target gain +10% critical hit chance, +15% damage, crit damage for 2 turns. Oh, that's... Oh. Spinner's Breastplate. Okay, it doesn't look like there's really all that much. Fellowship of the Void, Staff of Endless Flame, no thanks. If the wearer, no. Thematic Logis Analyzer. Whenever the target dodges the user's weapon attack, the next attack against that target deals more damage. More base damage and cannot be dodged. Whenever the user grants an ally an extra turn, that ally also gains the effect. Oh, but that would be really good on... Needle Pistol. Ogrin Grip. Wait a fucking sec. Wait. Wait. So the user deals 15% less damage and can perform only basic attacks with two-handed weapons in this hand. Whoa, but two-handed weapons. Oh, but then Pujan can't do the AoE stuff anymore. Can equip two-handed melee weapons in this hand. So Pujan could wield two-handed weapons. Nah, I would lose too much. Oh, those downsides are too bad. They're way too bad. Reflection against ranged attacks. Yeah, no. So what else did I get? Touch of the Omnissiah. Oh, yeah, I didn't see the need for that one. No. Never get rid of that one. Remember to wear an allies in the 2-star radius gain momentum. Anything for her? So if a single shot attack. I mean, anything that isn't that would be better on her. With a melee attack, yeah, no. No, Horrors of the Warp don't affect her. Toughness is increased by 3, no thanks. Armor of the Final Threshold, no. 10 agility though, that is a ton. He does very often not move. If the wearer is an overseer, nah, she isn't. Conviction Iconoclast. Mobilized, slowed, stunned, or knocked prone. I mean, she is an iconoclast. So this would actually be good on her, but... is there really nothing else I have for this slot? Because that is not useful on her at all. Yeah, no, I have nothing for that. I mean, 3 more toughness is not enough to warrant it. Did not spend MP during their turn. Yeah, no. But he's Enforcer Carapace. Didn't I get some more stuff? Immune to burning, lowers all enemies' perception. Each enemy killed by the wearer's area attacks increase the wearer's damage by 3% though till the end of combat. Would be good on Pujan, but 10% parry reduction and armor penetration is... I consider that to be just a bit more useful. However, there is a thing I considered for you. So when making an attack, the wearer gains 3 agility for each MP they have right before that attack. Hmm. Wait, so it's 3 per MP that hasn't been spent. So technically, if it's 4, yeah, no, that armor is actually better on her. No. What about you? Plus 12% dodge if the willpower is more than 40, which is very much the case. Can she even use the agility? Not really, no. Can you use the agility? I mean, this is just strict better. Yeah. Yeah. that was just strict better. Heavy armor proficiency. Deflection. Oh, but that one has 60% armor and 4 armor deflection. Yeah, no. That is way better. Do deflection against area attack, 7 fellowship, minus 5 dodge. Wait, minus 5% dodge. Against area attacks and the fellowship. Can he even use fellowship? Wait, no, this doesn't do much on him. Yeah, alright. Plus 14 to Medicae. Yeah, I mean, you don't really heal all that much, that's the thing. Whenever the wearer uses a non-attacking consumable item, it counts as an attack of a different type than the previous set for the purposes of versatility. How about him being able to heal, like, in that off chance? Oh. Did not move during the turn and became immobilized, slowed, stunned, or knocked prone. Yeah, both of them, he doesn't really know. And this is psychic power stuff. Yeah, no, okay. Nothing. Wait, no, I wanted to, no, back onto the ship. Back onto ship. Wanna check if there's any implant that's worth, putting into Pujan. Man, this beer, I'm having it. It's way too hoppy. For a blonde, this beer is way too hoppy. This is meant to be a blonde beer, and blonde beers are usually fairly mild, but this one is just... too hoppy. No me gusta. No me like it. Okay. Use this weapon that is character using their intelligence instead of strength, and ballistic skill as a weapon skill. Yeah, no. While not in cover, the user gains cover efficiency. Oh. Whenever a shot hits cover instead of the wearer, the attack against 3 stacks of exploit. While not in cover, the wearer gains cover efficiencies if they were in cover, but suffers dodge and parry minus 15%. On hit, attacks with melee weapons inflict galvanic resonance. This effect deals Barum Sanctum stacks. Wasn't that the downside? Yeah. And 10% up and all creatures adjacent. Deals more melee damage based off of traumas. I don't know. Oh Jesus, Pujan, you look cool, but no. Oi, 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 oi. The user's attacks with a weapon in this hand inflict +3 levels of toxin and toxic saturation effect that stacks. Yeah, and this was that if they die, they explode. To all creatures, so this could potentially kill Pujan himself. Well, it doesn't specify melee. But it does say ballistic skill goes down, so it's technically an upside for Pujan, but then he gets whenever he attacks. This would technically be not a bad call on Lysandra. But nah, I don't know. Base cover efficiency is equal to the base full cover efficiency. Yeah, no, there isn't really a lot that I really feel like is worth. We've got the Magna Rail Blast ability. This one gives the Transonic Wave. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't mind getting, like, augmented on. And Pascal probably also doesn't mind. Hey, Abelard. Adjacent to the creature in 2 meter. This can very much backfire. But 3 levels of toxin wouldn't be a bad call. It's just that then Abelard will have lots of... This creature dies as explodes, dealing toxic damage with 30% armor pen to all creatures. See, that's the thing. Toxic damage to all creatures around. I mean, I could also give this to him. Yeah, sure, both of my medics being better at healing is probably not a bad call. But yeah, the rest I can't really say I'm all too interested in. Oh no, he now has 15% less, like, ballistic skill, implying he ever uses his ballistic skill. I think he has a melter pistol in his other hand, but, I mean, he's not really gonna use that anytime soon. The few times I let him shoot with his pistol, it always backfired, so I really see no reason to make him ever shoot. Oh, I talked about this in last stream, but I have this little, like, tram here, this little New York City tram. I love this thing. And it has this thing that with, like some of the toy cars, right, where you pull back, and then it drives on it, or then it drives by itself, right? Like, you pull it back, there's some resistance, and then you let go, and it just goes off on its own. I love it when a toy car does that. Sure, let me check out what's to the Imperium. I'm curious.
Your captain, Rave on the line. The astropaths are going crazy in a little chamber. They're reporting severe warp disturbances along our intended route. It looks like the moor is completely impassable. I've seen this before, yes, and if you ask me, going in there is not a good idea. For us, or any other void ship.
So you're saying that not only will I break through the maw of the Imperium, but I will cover myself in glory as the conqueror of the raging warp forward. I did not inherit this void ship only to destroy it in a rolling Imperium. It's some less valuable deal with the maw.
I'll see to it, Lord Captain.
Okay, let's not go to the Imperium. Okay, I think... Yeah, I think we did all the optional stuff. Did we? Let me check. Something concerning Seven Ship's choir master. Oh yeah, I need to go to the choir. Yeah. Because I was about to be like, okay, let's do the main quest. But yeah. I think the order I'm going to do is Janus, so uh the one where the farmland. Then second we're going to go to the industry planet, and then last we're going to go to our HQ. Was it Void Ship Shrine or Astropet? I think it was the chapel. Okay, so the beer I have had is Original Maxel Helles. And it's certainly not for me. It's not bad, but it's certainly not for me because it's way too hoppy. Oi, 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 oi. Oh, ooh. This looks extremely warpy in here. Oi, oi, oi. Hey, Zachary. An unpleasant heaviness grows in your head, as if a vice were slowly tightening its grip on your mind. The choirmaster is kneeling, his burnt-out eyes peering into the void. He raises his head, and you see a weary old man, weak and frightened. He whispers, "She is here. Let us return. She is asking me for help, but you scare her. She's hiding from you. You will not harm her, will you?" From every direction, every shadow, comes playful, girlish laughter. At times it transforms into an old man's rueful weeping. At other times, into a deep growl of annoyance. The sound form cold, malicious words. "The sorrow will be eternal." A gentle, scornful laughter cuts through the sinister whispers. "Sorrow? To perceive corruption as a triumph, for once you perceive it, you can't eradicate it. Coward, blasphemous spawn, I hear your voices, and I follow the trail." His is such a terribly wounded soul. It has all but sunk beneath the grey-blue blisters of guilt, and they are swelling ever so rapidly. The last silvery speck of hope could fade at any moment. "Quartermaster, what's going on?" Weiss says nothing. His otherworldly gaze is directed through you and past you, just spot third inside the chapel. His lips silently whisper a name over and over. "What twisted creature are you?" The mocking laughter of the old man turns into a moaning whisper. "I am the victims. I am the murdered innocents. I am his guilt." How do I find Adeline? Adeline, she's there in the shadows. Many shadows lie. The true ghosts are hiding among the false ones. But I this is his prayer and old Stavros his words of disappointment. He always doubted my talents as a mentor. I hear poor enthusiasts scream, the scream he let out when he unwillingly gave up the last of his vitality. And he says, "Please, condemned her to an existence as a half machine. I can almost sense Civites's touch. She tried to save me, but she fell instead. So many voices, all condemning me for what I did. Find them. Separated her voices from the false echoes." I will find you, Adeline, and bring her into the light. The shadow croaked hoarsely into an old man's voice. "Why do you seek his redemption? He was always a terrible leader and talentless mentor. He doomed everyone." The indignant tremble grows into a roar of righteous condemnation. "He was arrogant, having no notion of his own wretchedness. He did not put his faith in the Emperor, but instead believed himself to be invincible." The voice grows weaker. It is now a young man's soft and full of anguish, and he paid for his mistake with our lives. It was cruel and painful. The voice grows heavy with a metallic clang. "We begged him to reconsider, but he took our minds away as punishment." The shadow's speech is now gentler and more feminine. "But we were loyal to him regardless. We tried to save him even though he had not saved us." The voice becomes cold, resonating with sorrow from beyond this world. "He is guilty." Okay. So, so where the fuck do I go? Well, I mean, I have to go around here. And ooh, void degradation is... Ooh, yeah, the void degradation is, off the motherfucking wazoos. And he said he was looking all the way back here, so there's probably something here. And we're gonna... Oh, I have to go over here. Okay. Okay. You have taught us everything. We will not fail you. We are ready. Butch. Ow. Oh. What is inside him is not yet for your eyes to see. Okay, so I have to get the right order. Okay. Okay, and what is the correct order? You're a failure of a teacher. You have taught them nothing. I have prepared you well, Zachary. My choir will live up to my name. Well, it wasn't this one because I took massive damage. How do I find Adeline? The true ghosts are hiding among the false ones, but I hear Thaddeus' earnest prayer and all services words of disappointment. So earnest prayer and words of disappointment. Hold on, so earnest disappointment, scream, and plea. So earnest disappointment, scream, and plea.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Earnest disappointment, scream, and plea. Okay, this is disappointment. Hold on, are you screaming? I prepared you well, Zachary. My choir will live up to my name. So this is, I think, gonna be number 1. Okay, no. You will never banish this sorrow. But it was earnest disappointment.
It's about time.
Okay, so apparently first disappointment. I call to you, O Prince of Pleasure. I entrust you with my puny soul and beseech for your protection. Okay. So Thaddeus. The God Emperor is a lie, the extermination is a lie, we are going to perish.
None shall stand in my way.
Thaddeus. Wait, Thaddeus. Wasn't he... Wait, it was... Pardon. It was earnest disappointment? Pardon me. Ugh. The God Emperor is a lie, the extermination is a lie, we are going to perish. I call to you, Prince of Pleasure. No.
Follow my lead.
One of these I can interact with. That's a lot of Thaddeus's. Oh God Emperor, protect us from the horrors of the Imperial Shield. This one? Okay. We have a fuck ton of traumas. Okay, that's 1 down. Zachary Wise. Are there more Thaddeus's? Antonius. Like, Daddy, give him a loss for you, teacher. Wait, what was Antonius?
To the stars.
Adeline, Thaddeus, earnest prayer, and Stravos. Antonius scream. Okay, so Antonius was screaming. So I need to find the one that's like that's screaming and giving up. When we drained my life, it felt so sweet. Oh, sweet duty. Nope. Oh, that one. I didn't give up my life energy willingly. He took control of my will. He made me drain myself dry. Nope. Wait, there's only 3 of them. This one is happy about having died, but the guy was... Zachary said he was crying. Tony screamed to scream at the top when he unwillingly gave up the last of his vitality. So he unwillingly gave up his vitality. I gladly give my last to you, teacher. No, 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 no. He unwillingly gave it his last. So it probably then actually is this one. Okay, Anis. What was Anis? Anis was pleading. I condemned her to an existence as a half machine. No, please teach anything, but they're better to kill me than to admit to those mindless things. This one. And this is Sevita. No, I didn't mean to execute him. Oops, accidental execution. Oh well, unlucky. Whoops, accidental execution. I mean, at least I know the order, sort of. I genuinely didn't mean to do this.
None shall stand in my way.
So first, this one. Which Thaddeus was the real one? Oh god, Emperor Protectors, BR Shield. This one, right? Yeah. Then the guy who didn't want to do it willingly. Then the one in front of him. In front of Zachary. Okay, and what did you say, old man? Okay, and even almost in Sevita's touch, she tried to save me, but she fell instead. Let us kill him for the glory of the dark gods. They're gonna stand with us against us alone. I find you guilty of arrogance and betrayal of the choir. Will be sentenced. No. There's another Sevita here. Master, please wake up. I'm here by your side. This one. Banish the ghost. Fuck off. The ghost stares at Weiss mournfully. The muffled sob coming from the apparition almost seems to take physical form as it drifts towards the choir master and envelops him. Weiss blocks your path, extending his arms in a gesture that both calls for restraint and pleads for mercy. Do not harm her, please. The poor girl is frightened to death. Let me talk to her. I cannot fail her again. Cries a Konoka's adherent. It's not her. You cannot wallow in your own guilt forever. These are people out and in here who depend on you, living people. Choir Master Weiss, I order you to banish the spawn. No. Adeline is dead and so the rest of them. Live with your guilt. Do not let it consume you. Esther Pratt, remember the golden radiance of holy terror. Remember your own oaths. He wants you steadfast. They're clearly all the problem here. No. Weiss' expression is a mixture of pain, horror, and grief. He lowers his arms slowly. No, your lordship. I know this is not Adeline, but an echo of the one who devoured her soul. I just wanted to see her again, hear her voice again for a brief moment. With jerky movements, as though shaking off shackles of ice, he picks up his staff. Ghost of my failure, now is your time to vanish. Weiss's breathing is labored. Thank you, your lordship. The burden was too heavy for me to bear. On the verge of fainting, he musters the last of his strength to sit down on the steps. Weiss, are you alright? After a long silence, he says in a hollow voice, in a bodily sense, yes, your lordship. What was that, choir master? A reckoning, your Lord Captain.
A reckoning for my great arrogance. Demons have been pursuing me for years, following my scent, sending me dire messages, hunting me. And now they have me. The entities that manifested here during the ritual were banished, but a lingering echo of their presence has latched onto the shadows. It has sprouted into darkness and pounced upon my mind.
Why are they pursuing you?
I am guilty. I wronged them. I had been promised a great future at the Scholastica Psychana, for my talents were exceptional. But fate would not have it, and instead of serving on Holy Terra, I ended up here in the expanse, where barely a gleam of the Astronomican reaches. My pride took a heavy blow, but my spirit was not cowed. I set about to assemble a choir unlike any yet seen here, a mighty, resonant, astounding choir. Lady Theodora expended tremendous resources bartering with captains and governors to procure astropaths of my choosing. I brought together talents and budding geniuses under my authority. They were to ensure I would make a triumphant comeback. And they could do that for me, that team of brilliant astropaths whose talents were honed to perfection. Adeline, Anis, Antonius. Every one of them surpassed myself as I used to be. I thought that my time was coming, and I lied to you when I told you it was Lady Theodora who had focused us to go through with the ritual. The idea had been mine. When, in her paranoia, her ladyship set out to find spies aboard the ship, I made her an offer. A ritual that would give her the names, in exchange for my fledglings' freedom and my own. It was a good deal. She was willing to trade 7 astropaths for the names of traitors, and I doomed them all. My pride killed them.
If you got your freedom, why did you stay on the ship then?
At first, Lady Theodora wanted to have me executed for what had happened, but then she regained her composure and graciously agreed to honor our deal. But where was I to go? My dead were all here.
What went wrong during the ritual? He chuckles bitterly, and scarlet stains bloom on his blindfold made of sacred manuscripts.
Adeline was my ritual protector, only to become my greatest vulnerability. When the mad stream of other people's thoughts started to disorient my astropaths, I became frightened for her. I hesitated. I wanted to spare her, and I lost control. The right thing to do would have been to sacrifice her, but I couldn't. I had always had a soft spot for her. Her genius had made her my favorite.
What about the other voices? Were they your apprentices as well?
Not all of them. Stavros was the oldest in the choir. He had been on the ship even longer than I. Mighty, wise man, if acrimonious. He envied me and criticized my ambition, but I was fond of him all the same. Thaddeus was the ship's confessor. Theodora had insisted on his presence. When it was over, he was the only other survivor, and he confronted me with angry accusations. I could not bear to listen to him, so I silenced him, killed him. Savitia was an ordinary servant. She fought the Immateriums as monsters until the war began to prevail. She tried to save me, to lead me away, but I did not listen. Stayed at my side until the last moment and died a terrible death. All because of my accursed pride. The rest were my voices. Antonius was the youngest. He had been in the choir for only a short while. When the situation turned dire, fear got the best of him, and I was infuriated by his weakness. I dominated Antonius' mind and impelled him to use up every spark of his life force for the ritual. Anis's doom came even earlier. She was the one person who told me, in front of the choir, that the ritual was madness. In my anger, I ordered her servitoricized. I believed I had to protect my authority. She died on the spot where you're standing now. I think she was still aware. More scarlet drops seep through the core mass's red-stained blindfold. All my voices. I remember the name of each one whose life I cut short within these walls. I know the truth. That's for the best. I can no longer carry this burden alone. With Lady Theodora dead, the thought of my crime being forgotten, erased from history, is unbearable. I want to be judged and condemned.
So, without reading the dialogue, what would I do here? So the guy was essentially prideful and decided to, yeah, essentially do a big ritual because he wanted to just continue, like, one-upping himself. He didn't mind being cruel to people just so he could continue with his ambitions and... But it is eating the guy alive, and he did almost just die, and he did redo what's it called? The ritual, despite knowing it was a horrendous idea and him having gone through with it. Maybe I'm too much of a softie, but I would give him another chance, but, like, under surveillance. You have already condemned yourself to years of torment. I cannot give you a new punishment, only forgiveness, and you must forgive yourself. You have not allowed the warp to break you, and I believe the Emperor's light is strong in your soul. Continue your service for humanity needs, and your duty to find, you will find redemption. Your ambition was worth the risk. You were simply unlucky with your steward. The weak are destined to be stepping ew. Zachary Wise, I find you guilty and condemn you to death. You do not deserve absolution. Your service will continue. Yeah, just give him another chance. Like, the Quartermaster raises his grief-stricken face. The droplets of blood trickling from under the bandage land on the deck with a ringing sound.
Your words are medicine for my soul, your lordship.
After a moment's hesitation, the old man holds out his staff to you.
Please take it. This mighty instrument is the last reminder of Adeline and the others of my guilt. It was with this that I performed the last ritual. I have no right to carry it any longer and would like it to be yours. A reminder of the painful lesson my pride has taught me.
What the hell is this? Telepathy. Allies of the staff will have their dodge increased by 2%. Ooh! Hey, Lysandra, baby girl, we have a new staff for you. Where's the staff? Where's the staff? Nope, genuinely, where is that staff? There. So... Okay, so all I'm seeing is that I do still get a vision of death. And what about this one? The wielder of the staff, power level 12, gains the vision of death ability. Okay, and again 15 willpower and 10 perception. And what do I get with this one? So everybody has their dodge increased by 6%. But I lose a great deal of perception and willpower. I mean, I lose 5 willpower. But everybody has more dodge. But then I look at this one. Enemies suffer -10 penalty to all resistance tests against psychic powers of the telepathy discipline used by the wielder. But this one is just straight better. Like, this one is just straight better. I mean, the 6%, yeah, it isn't bad, but I don't know, I feel like it isn't really enough to... It isn't really good enough for me to switch off of that staff. Like, all the characteristics that I gain, just... Well, that was cool. Okay, we have, this one sealed off. Or rather, like, this quest is, donezo. Of course, was he confirmed the verification is complete? Yeah, I confirm it. Well, Captain, you don't even know what we're talking about. No. Nope. Also, Titanium Sword, I don't know if you're listening, but I saw your comment on the Sisyphus VOD. Made me chuckle a tiny bit. It did make me chuckle a bit. I found it to be very funny. I was legitimately thinking of doing a video where I was going to do 4-2 up until the Sisyphean Insurrectionist, upload that, tag you in it, And that's it. Just for that comment. So, Janus. We need to go to Janus. The compete in your ear comes left of a crackle.
Lord Captain, following the rites of healing performed by the esteemed Manipulus Febris upon the implantation throne in Sixta Sector Bionica, the machine spirits dwelling within the relic revealed something extraordinary to us. Upon awakening, the secret archaeotech brought several more machines back to wakefulness. After performing diagnostic rituals, the tech priest discovered a secret door behind one of the devices. It was described with an ancient Van Valencia's coat of arms. As soon as the tech priest tried to enter, a genetic guardian blocked the way. It refused to open the door to anyone but rogue trader Sebrian Van Valencias or his heir.
Sebrian Van Valencias, what do we know about him?
Therein lies the problem, Lord Captain. No rogue trader by the name of Siberian is listed in any dynastic chronicle. The historians of the flagship are also unfamiliar with the name. Why the Guardian thinks it belongs to an owner that never existed is a mystery, and only you, as the actual head of the dynasty, can find the answer.
Well, let's just check it out right now then.
As you say, your lordship, the Effectotem has taken it upon himself to make the necessary preparations. He will meet you there.
Okay. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So, you wanted me here. So the door. Let's check the door. Let's check the door. DLC door. Put head in. The Effectotem, Chirurger Martinax, and Genitor Ferenc are already waiting for you by the mysterious door. The wall behind them looks perfectly flat, only the metal coat of arms gleaming in the lumen light and a steady glow in the genetic guardian's impassive lenses reveal that one of the dynasty's secrets lies behind this wall. The guardian of the secret room looks far less menacing than a gargoyle that guards the entrance of the warren chamber. This is just a recess in the wall, framed in metal, with an analyzer needle inside and a small vidscreen beside it. Lines of mechanically indifferent text appears on the screen.
Access is forbidden. Entry is authorized only for Siberian Van Valencias or his direct descendants.
Let's check that coat of arms first. The heraldic symbols cast in noble bronze are undoubtedly from the Van Valencias dynasty. Only certain details draw your eye. Some elements of the ornamentation and the archaic script. They indicate that the coat of arms, as well as the wall itself, is several centuries old. Hence my spirit of the Guardian, who is Siberian. The Guardian's vidscreen flickers just slightly.
Error. The request is invalid. Entry is authorized only for Siberian Van Valencias or his direct descendants.
I, rogue trader Mariusz Pijanovsky Van Valencias, command you to open this door.
Genetic confirmation of dynastic status required.
With an off-putting beep, the analyzer needle lengthens slightly. Fucking draw my blood then. The analyzer pierces your hand, wriggling repulsively beneath your skin. A split second later, the color of the genetic guardian's vidscreen changes to a welcoming green.
Identification passed. Welcome, member of the Van Valencias dynasty.
A tremor passes through the wall, accompanied by a deep groan of ancient locks releasing. Yosek the Martinek's pupils dilate. He takes a wary step forward and freezes.
Incredible! Generations of Kurokers have told away here, and we're utterly unaware.
Ferenc lets out a shocked exclamation in lingua technis, which shifts to a sharp, Benheric screech. Then, embarrassed by his outburst, the tech priest bashfully steps aside, respectfully making way for you.
Be careful, Lord Captain.
Abelard narrows his eyes at the outline of the coat of arms, his brows furrowed stubbornly.
Dynastic secrets can be more than a little dangerous. It is my right for just duty as seneschal to escort you inside.
Yeah, of course. We found the secret study of Siberian Van Valencias. The door slides to one side with a metallic thud. Stale air rushes out of the hidden room, carrying with it particles of centuries-old dust.
Follow my lead.
Valencias. The secret chamber bears no resemblance to the Secta Bianca. It feels more like someone's private study. Therefore, some manner of records must be hidden here. A half-length portrait hangs on one of the room's walls. Perhaps the figure depicted will shed light on the room owner's identity. This chair looks luxuriously upholstered in natural velvet. It's clearly the work of a highly skilled marksman. It is obvious at a glance that it is worth a fortune. A figure in grand attire stares down at you from the portrait with an air of regal superiority. The insignia embellishing this lavish cloak leaves no room for doubt. This is a rogue trader of bygone days. His right hand rests on the hilt of an exquisite blade, and his roguish half-smile radiates majestic condescension. I don't like that guy. The plaque reads, Siberian von Valencius Massimo F. Coronas, rogue trader of the Imperium and guiding light of his dynasty. Study the details of the portrait. It is hard to argue with the simple truth. The subject of the portrait was an extremely good-looking individual. Debatable. Not one of his meticulously painted scars, which the rogue trader bore like medals for military valor, could spoil his noble beauty. Study the background of the painting. Your eye is drawn to the head of the predatory creature behind the man. Its beastly face, distorted in mortal rage, is vaguely familiar, and its gaze, too intelligent for a dead thing, is fixed on something very specific outside the painting. 20% chance to fail. There can be no doubt about the weapon's origins. The sword depicted by this unknown artist's brush was not forged by human hands. The fluid curves, the exceptional luster of the blade, and the gem at the hilt show the weapon to be a work of an Eldari artisan. The blade is also unusual for the runes engraved along its length. They are most ancient indeed. The inscription in the Eldari language, recounting legend of an unholy god of war revered by the Xenos. Argenta shakes her head in disapproval.
Memory is the force that drives humanity and inspires deeds worthy of our ancestors. Details are eroded by time, leaving only the essences crystallized within relics and images. We should preserve only that which fortifies us upon his path. The rest must be consigned to oblivion. Unfortunately, this portion of your legacy belongs to the latter.
Look closely at the face. Chiseled features, dark brows, and a gaze full of inner strength. You also notice the finely worked furrows of stubbornness on his forehead and the corners of his mouth. The artist strove to capture the complex character of a strong-willed man and seems to have done a superlative job. With sudden clarity, you realize that the image has been significantly embellished. What you have before you is a ceremonial portrait intended to cast its subject in the most favorable light possible. Either that, or the artist whose brush produced this work truly did see your ancestors some kind of idol. Cassia studies the canvas thoughtfully, barely touching a scrollwork of a heavy frame with her slender fingers. The work of a skilled and undoubtedly talented painter, Lord Captain. The execution is so exquisite that glimpses of the model's own emotions flicker before my gaze, as if the master has captured not only the man's likeness upon the canvas, but the very soul. You cut a fine figure. The portrait remains silent, perhaps because, despite the vividness of the person depicted, it is only an object that has been hanging on this wall for centuries. Turn your attention to something else. Effects of light play whimsically on the expensive oil with which the portrait is painted. Well, not as on the glories of Valencia, then. You're a forgotten legend now, old man, but the Koran's expense will not forget me so quickly, I assure you. You know you speak the truth. You begin to think that the man in the portrait is looking back at you with faith in his eyes. Then, Rook, I found a portrait of my ancient ancestor, which should be rehung in my chambers. No. Step away.
A new challenge for me?
Just as I planned.
What do we have in here? Use against the jump maneuver ability. Upon landing, there is a chance that the user falls prone and deals shock damage to all adjacent creatures. Oh, jetpack joyride. Despite the still air in the small chamber, the richly jeweled display case looks as if it has been meticulously maintained all this time. There is not a single mote of dust in the clear, gleaming glass. On the clear, gleaming glass. Oh, what do we have here? The user attacks with a weapon in his hand inflict 4 levels of toxin. Oh yeah, another one of these. Okay. Tattered diary. The cover of the book is coated in a thick layer of dust. The sprayed edges have warped and are marred with decay. Writing implements lie in disarray. An autoquill, an ornate shaped inkwell, and a paperweight, as if the diarist had made the last entry before leaving their secret study in haste. I'll dust off the cover. The sturdy, well-crafted leather with an expensive embossing has hardly faded with the effects of time. The Valencia's coat of arms stamped on it is embellished with large gems. The book is covered in many scratches and scuffs, as if the book has survived more than a few adventures. At the bottom of the cover, the name Siberian von Valencias is written in florid script. It appears to be a personal diary. Well, open the first few pages, let's see what homie has written down. The pages are filled with cramped writing, along with blots, crossings out, and sweeping underlines that reveal the owner's passionate nature. The ink is as faded and decayed as the pages themselves, the thin parchment crumbling to dust at any careless touch. Let's go to the middle then.
All I can be certain is that a portion of my designs that most of my retinue would consider overly bold will not leave the confines of these chambers. It is rather amusing that this personal laboratory has ultimately become a secret sanctuary, to whose walls I can tell most of my ideas and research. At times, I sense that the esteemed Exalt 117 is entirely aware of its existence, but the Archmagos has always possessed that rare combination of human qualities, a sense of tact coupled with the ability to keep others as secrets. The stream of thought is cut short. The next page of the diary has been ripped out. Well, last entry then. Oh, Jesus Christ. The siege is over, but it takes more than a single battle one to snuff the flames of war. They are showering me with their artless praise. They are lauding me as the savior of the dynasty. And yet I cannot shake the fact that it may be my hand that signed its death warrant. What if the artifact in front of me now is not enough? Yet the place where I found this relic may hold still more. The God Emperor willing, I shall find them. No one must know about the cluster I discovered. No one must interfere in my search. I will order Ambrosio not to record the war brutes in the archives of his esteemed house, and should I fail, then perhaps my descendants might finish what I started. The dynasty's private cogitator under Argonus seems ancient and loyal enough for me to entrust it with the coordinates. The access identifier is Laria. I will open the secret areas of the machine spirit's memory. I hope I will be the one who reads this journal upon my return, and I hope I will destroy this evidence of my inexcusable faintness of heart.
The remaining pages of the diary are utterly untouched. Perhaps the cogitator in the Palace of Dargonus, mentioned in the last entry, can tell you more about this mysterious Siberian von Valencias and his life's journey. Can we please leave the room any slower, please? Gendry wipes the sweat from his brow, the sense drying his fleshy hand with a silk handkerchief. Your lordship, has your search been successful? Have you learned anything about the fate of the mysterious Siberian? I found a portrait of a nobleman holding an unusual sword on one of the walls. What gave you the notion that the blade depicted was more than just a ceremonial weapon, your lordship? An Eldari blade and an ancient one at that, a Xenos relic without a doubt. The blasphemous wounds of the Val Eldari inscribed on the sword are proof. The unnamed subject of the portrait somehow obtained an Eldari ritual sword decorated with the religious writings. It would be a pleasure to possess such a thing. Yeah, an Eldari blade, yeah. The Hifek totem pales slightly and looks away. I see. This was a strong indicator that the blade's wielder was a most distinguished individual. Even among rogue traders, not everyone can afford to possess such an item. It must be a genuine portrait of Siberian. The fellow in the portrait was rather handsome and sumptuously dressed. I see. Alas, this sheds no light on who he really was, although an elegant appearance is indeed a hallmark of the nobility. And you are no small proof of that. Enough about the blade. Very well. What else have you managed to uncover, Lord Captain? After a thorough search, I found a handwritten diary signed by Siberius von Valancius. That's something. One can learn a great deal about the individual from personal writings. That is, of course, assuming he was sufficiently truthful in his account. What did the diary entries tell you, Lord Captain? The secret chamber was a sanctioned laboratory. I believe that Siberian was overly interested in radical ideas. The final entry tells the siege of Dargonus, but such a historical event is not in the chronicles. I found a reference to a certain cogitator in the palace of Dargonus, as well as a data key that grants access to its archives. Yeah, last one. Wonderful. You should definitely go to Dargonus and convey the code to the cogitator's machine spirit. The secret chamber was a sanctuary and laboratory. That explains the great many things. In particular, the fact that no mention of him survives in the official histories. The tense furrow forms on Yenris's brow. I suppose there must be something dark and nefarious behind all of this, far more than we can even guess. The following entry tells of a siege of Dargonus. The factotum takes an absent-mindedly twirling the altar quill in his hand. Let me think. That is strange indeed. I have studied the history of the dynasty in enough detail to recall all the major battles of the last millennium, and none took place on the capital world. Nothing more has survived in the records. Thank you for the information, your lordship. This is everything I managed to discover. What about your thoughts? Your lordship, I imagine that Siberian was a man of... Wait, no. Your lordship, I imagine that Siberian was a man of remarkable talents and extraordinary destiny. I regret that I was fated never to see him in the flesh. The life form, Janitor Ferenc, is extremely disturbed by the discovered addition of the genealogical tree of the Von Valancius dynasty. I crave inspiration to make the appropriate changes to the Secta Bionica archives. It seems that Zeberian von Valancius was indeed the one erased from the official chronicles. I wonder what deed prompted such a step. I do hope that when the machine spirit of the ancient cogitator on Dargonus sheds light on this mystery, we will not have to consign what we learned to oblivion as well, Lord Captain. Well, we're to Dargonus we go. Main quest? No one needs a main quest. Main quests are for pussies. Wish to collect? Yeah, I do. Main quests are for pussies, man. Who needs main quests? Yeah, and also, I don't know if you're still listening, but how you doing, man? Are you doing a bit better, man? Yeah. Thought I see you again, and 1 hour later, I'm asking if you're doing all right. I am a good friend, yes. So I have to go to Dargonus. Where the hell is Dargonus? Isn't it one of the main planets where I have to go to? So Dargonus. Where is Dargonus? Janus. Yeah, I have to lay waste to that station. Kiava Gamma. Restore the operative. Okay, Dargonus is the main planet. Okay, so we won't be doing main quest. We will be doing main quest. Okay, I can do this from here without having to continuously go back there. Contracts. 4 Xenotech for 2 profit factor. Who knows what I need the Xenotech for just yet? No. There was something I wanted to check out. Calling reward, hollowed railway. Yay. Yeah, I wanted to check what I needed for this. I need 3 people. Okay. Where do I get 3 people from? Space combat awaits in this system. Lord Captain, urgent vaccination from the Secta Bionica. What voice did I give this guy?
Rogue trader.
Logan's sonorous voice filled the channel.
As you know, there are no solvable dilemmas, only poorly formulated questions. You strike me as someone who knows how to ask the right questions, and so I would like to invite you to participate in my scientific research. Will you honor me with your presence in the Secta Bionica?
I would like to know more before I agree.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm interested more in your philosophical outlook rather than in your practical skills. I do not doubt the extent of your knowledge, but I myself will handle the technical aspects of the process. If you want to know about my focus and objectives, my research is dedicated to the extension and optimization of the vital processes that occur in organic flesh. Key to this endeavor will be deriving a formula to quantify righteousness. Your assistance to this matter will be invaluable.
I'm indeed
Blessed are those who heed the call of the Omnissiah. I look forward to our conversation, Rogue Trader.
We're really never going to continue the main quest, are we? Though I suppose this has to do with the fact that I'm very deep into Chapter 2. Well, deep, I haven't done the main quests yet, but... Oi, fatso. On the operating table, several bodies are laid out, their mutilations exposed to the chill air. Their chests and abdominal cavities yawn wide, excavated of their augmented organs, which now nestle in flasks, still connected to the bodies by tubes and cables. Judging by their rhythmic contractions, the organs are still functioning. Eugen hovers beside the tables, assiduously taking measurements and jabbing mechadendrites into the extracted organs or inside the bodies. Nunzius keeps stoic vigil nearby, an impassible observer of this grotesque spectacle. Take a closer look at the bodies first. 3 men of differing ages lie before you, young, middle-aged, and old. If you look closely, you can see that they still have a semblance of life about them. Each one has had the top of his skull delicately removed, and electrodes are now attached to the flush-hued brain tissue latticed with blood vessels. Below the neck is one continuous gaping wound, the edges spread and held in place by a complex system of clamps. Look at the young man first. The pathologically emaciated build and spindly, almost transparent limbs indicate that this is a void ball. A glance in the open ribcage reveals signs of damage. The sac around the heart is torn, and the vessels have been reinforced with metal staples. The poor youth's heart is half augmented. Both ventricles have been replaced by pumps, which are connected to opaque tubes that run to the Medicaid device's reservoir. The young man's neck is tattooed with his bay code and job title. It seems he's a common worker from the lower decks. Okay, what about the man, the middle-aged one? With his well-developed muscular and strong bones, this man presents a stark contrast to the others. His left arm is missing, along with part of his shoulder. Shreds of major vessels protrude from his neatly trimmed stump. They have been closed off with bizarre-looking end caps that are wired to a metal arm lying nearby. The Enforcer's emblem is tattooed on the man's neck, topped with the Von Valancius coat of arms. What about the old man? The old man's eyelids are closed. His face is serene. He might appear to be sleeping peacefully, were it not for the deathly pallor of his face and his monstrously mangled neck. He had been fitted with a voice implant at some point previously, but it had recently been wrenched from the unfortunate man's body. Every so often, the metal hose, now serving as his trachea, emits a reedy whistling sound. He is clutching something tightly in his right hand. It is an ornate set of prayer beads, the kind used by ordained servants of the ecclesiary. Okay, so we have a worker, a guy from the Von Valancius dynasty, and a priest. Okay. Absorbed in his work, Eugen pauses for a moment, listening to Nunzius, then glances at the cogitators and shakes his head.
No, dearest colleague, that would be excessive.
Eugen, what manner of experiment do you plan on conducting on these men? The manipulous massive bulk spins around to face you, his eyes dancing with excitement.
Rogue Trader, your arrival has triggered a cascade of impulses in the prefrontal cortex of my brain. A delight, that's the word I was searching for. Cast off your worries. The subjects of the experiment have been preserved through a combination of alchemical compounds, local transactions of the motive force, and moderately invasive augmentation procedures.
In other words, all 3 are very much alive. Throughout his speech, Eugen's mechadendrites continued their manipulation of the bodies.
The crux, all 3 organisms were found in critical condition. I asked myself, is their usefulness and productive capacity truly at an end? Nonsense. To move from a state of being to a state of non-being entails no benefits or meaning. I personally ensured their vital functions were preserved. Our goal could not be simpler, to vanquish death by creating the perfect righteous man, that which I have dubbed the Trisomata. Needless to say, the procure is highly experimental and demands a certain looseness of interpretation in regards to augmentation canons, as well as integration of components that would incur the appearances Disapproval, but the Messiah teaches us to surmount any obstacles in the name of knowledge, especially when pursuing a goal of such magnitude. Curious somewhat, what is that? In the triune essence, the amalgam of the best constituent parts of three individuals who have excelled themselves in service. Metaphysically, it consists of three beginnings: mortal flesh, firm sanctum, and righteousness. By creating the perfect combination, we will achieve a totality that is vastly superior to its components in its qualities and usefulness to the Imperium. What is the practical significance of your experiment? In your current state, each of the subjects is doomed. But just as the parts of dying mechanisms can be combined again to create a functioning machine, so too can these subjects be combined into a single entity, granting them continued life through the correct configuration of the ferrum sanctum and organic components of all three. The only thing I require to continue the experiment is a solution to my dilemma. Which subject should serve as the basis? Hold on, so he wants to fuse all three into one? How did you decide to create a trace of matter out of these three? These are strong arguments in favor of each of them. The janitor raises a clawed mechadendroid and begins flexing at manipulators in time with his words. Firstly, they have all performed their service impeccably, which suggests outstanding human qualities. Secondly, each body is robust enough to receive the blessing of the Messiah. And thirdly, there's not a chance of salvation for any of them. Why are all three subjects so horribly mutilated? 2 reasons. The first is that they were previously fatally injured. I have performed numerous rites and manipulations to ensure that each was able to avoid a fatal outcome. The second is that I have been conducting the necessary measurements to fully assess the compatibility of the configurations of ferring sanctum and organic components for an optimal experimental result. This often requires the extraction of said components. Why is this experiment so important to you? An angry spark zips along the pistons of the manipulist's head. He floats higher, turning his glowing gaze on the sector's ceiling. Because I cannot abide this senseless waste of potential. I cannot accept that a foolish accident and fragility of organic flesh can, in an instant, deprive the Imperium of worthy servants. And if I'm able to extend their service life, I will do so, whatever the cost. Eugen's passionate speech could be mistaken for pride and conceit, but something else lies behind it, a doggedness born of some deeply personal experience. The man carries a heavy burden, and the experiment is one of his many attempts to relieve himself of it at last. Driving lower once more, Eugen calmly asks, "Any more questions plaguing you, road trader? Organisms? They are not things, Eugen. You're talking about people." "Ah, I see. We have found a lacuna in your knowledge of scientific syntax. An organism is..." Eugen breaks off and calls a confused look at Nuncius. "Apologies, rogue trader. I'm not well versed in contact with lay persons. Nuncius far surpasses me in every way when it comes to communication. I recognize that these individuals have minds, desires, and needs. I'm not attempting to interfere with their personalities. On the contrary, I wholly admire each of their own traits. I use the term organism with nothing but the deepest respect for these men and their vital functions." Right. Very well, I'll help you, but what role am I to play in this experiment? "A decisive one. I can detail the composition and humor ratio of each experimental subject, measure the mass of their frontal lobe, ransom with picosecond accuracy how often their hearts contracts. But how does one calculate the man's righteousness? How do you weigh diligence or service? You'll have me answer these questions by choosing the basis for the trisomata. Your assessment will be the linchpin upon which this experiment hinges." "Why don't you ask Nuncius, then?" "My dearest colleague and I had more than one concilium, but we've never reached a consensus. Nuncius is a skeptic, and our positions rarely align, but we tend to reach a compromise in the end. But, alas, not on this occasion. The only thing we agree on is the need for a third person. Only you can furnish us with said opinion. This is an incontrovertible fact." What do you understand by the term righteousness? I was actually wondering this myself. "The combination of countless factors that unite the thoughts and deeds of a person into the quintessence of the worth of his being within a specific society. I am at a loss to provide a less broad definition, but no matter. Much more important is how you define righteousness. The subject you choose will determine the answer to that question." I mean, righteousness... So which of these three is the most useful? What is it that Nuncius disagrees with?
The silver skull hovers in haughty silence, which is broken only by Jürgen's sighs of exasperation. Pressing his lips together, the manipulous grunts out. To condense his overly pedantic response, Nuncius doesn't consider righteousness to be in any way a significant factor in this research. Had I had any less respect for my dearest colleague, I would say that this constitutes an egregious misunderstanding of the concept of the Trisomata, and is indicative of extreme close-mindedness. But such remarks are beneath me. Why not just combine all 3 minds to serve as the basis? 3 minds cannot coexist in one body. Setting aside the fact that even I would not be capable of achieving such a feat in practice, in theory it would certainly lead to the complete deconstruction of all 3 minds. Some less flexible thinkers might even consider it heresy. You sense some agreement in Nuncius' silence. As my dearest colleague rightly notes, we have encountered many such points of contention over the years. Before I make my choice, tell me about the merits of all 3. And Mikadena touches the table with the middle-aged man. Enforcer Lorink. He's diligently served on the ship since birth, a participant in countless combat landings where he was a model of valor and steadfastness. He was known at lower decks for being tough, but fair. His last act of heroism was the rescue of an enforcer patrol and a number of workers on deck E545-E-2. Lurink released his own body over a crack grenade thrown from the crowd by a mutineer. Next is the old man, Preacher Cleophanes. Originally assigned to serve in the ship's as reliquary, he rejected the luxury of the chapel in favor of an eternal pilgrimage on the decks where no servant of the ecclesiary had ever set foot. Through his example and word, he encouraged and instructed outcasts and forgotten. Thousands of souls who would otherwise have lost their faith and fallen to heresy came to know the word of the emperor, but it only took one to end Cleophanes' preaching for good. A madman attacked him during a sermon, managing to rip out the preacher's vocal implant before the crowd tore him apart. Finally, Jürgen touches the void-born youth, Mikosh, a ventilation shaft crawler from Sorting Hub 10. He dutifully burned mold, slime, and vermin, and would be the first to climb into blood-blocked ducts, risking his life to deliver recycled air into the sector. He was a true believer and never lamented his lot. On his final foray, he saved hundreds of workers by using his body to plug a hole in a combustible gas pipe. This toxicity led to cardiac arrest and blood poisoning. Egan raises his mechadendrites in anticipation. What will form the basis of the Trisomata? So essentially, who's going to be the mind controlling the body of the 3? The guy who's harsh but selfless? A young guy or an old guy? So I would be choosing either the enforcer or the worker. So either a young guy who would willingly risk his life, or a guy who is a good role model for other people. I think I'm gonna pick the enforcer. Eugen contemplates the half-dead man lying stretched on the galvanized surface. The choice has been made, but will you deign to answer my question? Why him? I must know your thought process. Is Bloodwatch impeccably to the end righteousness, giving one's life in the service of the Golden Throne? No. Is sacrificing himself for many selflessness at the highest expression of righteousness? Only the strong are worthy of surviving. The rest are expendable. He did not fear death, so he is strong. Nah, this. Eugen closes his organic eye, deep in thought. Finally, his face breaks into a smile. Thank you, Mariusz Pudzianowski. This is it, the solution to our dilemma. I will begin the Trisomnia procedure. May organic flesh and sacred machinery be one. Why specifically 2 hours and 23 minutes? With a barely audible crunch, Eugen's injector mechadendrite pierces the brain tissue. The man's face contorts in anguish, and his back arches in a fit of spasms. His brows furrowing, the janitor delivers a powerful pulse to the motive force, and the unfortunate man drops limply back down on the table. The tech priestess manipulators dart between the three bodies, separating organs, augmentics, and limbs, and transplanting them to the new host. Discharges of energy coruscate around Eugen's hulking figure, growing brighter and brighter until the final flash leaves it temporarily blind. When your vision returns, you see the manipulators carefully releasing the subject's limbs from the restraints. The process is complete. Same. The creature, which a second ago resembled a humanoid lump of bloody meat studded with metal, suddenly leaps up with unexpected vigor, tossing Eugen backward, letting out an intelligible howl of suffering. Before anyone can react, the amalgam man barrels toward the entrance of the Sexta Bionica, filling the deserted corridors with his plaintive moans. Eugen stares after him in amazement. Impossible! The calculations were perfectly calibrated, all factors taken into consideration. Was this specimen effective? I must find the Trisomata immediately and determine what went wrong. Your combeat crackles to life, carrying the Vox Master's anxious voice. Lord Captain, an urgent report from Mistress Sarabak. A strange creature resembling a malfunctioning servitor is heading toward the lower decks, shouting pleas that make reference to you and Janitor Febris. Enforcers have been dispatched and intercepted, but I assumed that you would prefer to assess the situation personally. Thank you. Janitor Febris and I will set out immediately. One way or another, we must see the experiment through the end. Oh, okay. So I have to take Eugen with me. So I should probably level up the guy, huh? Instead of having him be level 15 while everybody else is level 29. I need more bippies. I need more of my bippies. More bippies. Always need more bippies. Bippies good, yes. Oh yeah, damn, who would have thought his sectum, no, Ferrum Sanctotum, 5 stacks. Okay, so he's an officer first. Okay. But isn't she also an officer? Yeah. Vanguard. Master Tactician, Grand Strategist. I mean, she's a Master Tactician. I feel Overseer would fit to him. With a serval skull. Just after Tony Jimmy the false radius on the service for mixable power resistance test. Medicaid signal. The start of the Tony H line, the force radius on the serval skull song gains 8 wounds and a 33% chance to remove 1 injury. Provocation signal. Depending on the familiar number of wounds. Advanced tracking. Immediately dashes to the familiar signal. Let's do Medicaid signal. Eugen grunts like the fat strikes to himself for an hour. Yeah, okay, first this. Jesus Christ, man, I don't really want to play with Eugen. Lost energy. Enemies hit by Eugen suffer 50% more shock damage until the end of combat. After Eugen uses Magna Rail Lance, next instance of shock energy he deals with 1 round is equipped. Yeah, sure, he has a Mag Rail. Overcharge. To heals the full wounds. Oh yeah, that's that one, okay. AP increase, yeah. Sure, intelligence. Pepsi. Enemies hit by Eugen suffering. Oh yeah, I already have this one. When Transonic Cannon is used against a creature suffering from burning. Why do I have the Magna Rail? You're going to target himself with the Bring It Down ability. In this case, if resolves reduced by 100% while 1 round, he doesn't gain AP but can make an additional attack instead. Under the effect of this ability, Eugen gets 8 weapon skill, ballistic skill, agility, and perception. Okay. Eugen gets 80% block when targeted with ranged attacks. Instead of combat, Eugen gains 1 more stack of potential energy. Induction transmission, no. Aegon can target aims with the bring it down ability. In this case, the resolve is reduced. The target immediately attacks the closest creature, then the target suffers -8 to all characteristics. The target affected by focusing to them becomes stunned for 1 round. This is a powerful enemy. At the start of his turn, Aegon gets +1 AP if he has at least 6 stacks of potential energy. Sure. Then more intelligence, I suppose. Aegon carries Blessing of the Omnissiah to himself or an ally within 8 cells of 1 round, increasing the armor and damage dealt. To this ability, Aegon must have at least 2 stacks of potential energy, which are removed afterwards. Aegon grants electrified strikes, allowing the target the additional shock damage. For 1 round, Aegon creates an energy wall that occupies 7 cells in a straight line. Ranged attacks made by Aegon with allies to the additional 9 shock damage and have armor. Ooh, that's cool. He has like a Baptiste, what was his name? Baptiste from Overwatch? Yeah, this is that. You can target an adjacent ally with at least 1 augment and someone restores wounds. Okay. Actually, defend the divine work. God, what is he very good at? Coercion, Medicae, tech use. I mean, of course he's very good at tech use. He's a fucking tech priest. Yeah, do coercion, I guess. Yeah. Galvanic module. If the Silver Skull Swarm is targeted by the Galvanic Field ability, it also gains the effect. Cool. If the Overseer of the areas are protected by partial cover and a full surveillance on the Silver Skull Swarm, they are considered protected by full cover. Cool. The first attack can cover with any plasma melt. Wearing heavy armor, forgeable characters can play. Okay. Even can target himself. Yeah, okay. Well, the Overseer is 5 more cells away from the Silver Skull Swarm. Their fellowship is increased by 10. An Overseer extrapolates an ability from the Silver Skull Swarm for the first time in round. They gain 1 AP. No. Enemies suffer in. What about Serval Skull specific things? The familiar's maximum wounds are increased by 6. 50% chance against Overseer attacks. Each ally in the feast areas and the familiar has the resolve increased by 2. When a familiar's ability is used on an ally for 1 round, that ally gains 5 to characteristics. Oh. Once per combat, Silver Skull Swarm can save an ally. If that ally suffers lethal damage in a full radius on a Silver Skull Swarm, that ally regains Silver Skull Swarm Fellowship bonus divided by 3 of their maximum wounds and remains in combat. Then the Silver Skull Swarm suffers. Obviously, this Medicae's got shock damage. Yeah, sure. Fellowship, toughness, which of these is high? Jesus Christ, his willpower is low. I suppose the guy is like barely like holding on. Like he's about to just. Every user uses a grenade. Nah. Gee, I don't fucking know. Plasma melter or power weapon deals additional damage equal to 7. He probably wears heavy armor. Impure galvanic module and energy multiplier. Dependable ally. Yeah, sure, this one, I guess. Weapon skill, sure. Listen, I don't want to play. I don't necessarily. I'm going to play this guy for too much. When the Overseer uses the archetype abilities, the Overseer and the Familiar gain 1 deflection for 1 round. When the Overseer uses reactivate, the momentum value is increased by +5 for each round. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, yeah. And then here, I don't know. He probably uses a plasma weapon and increase this, yeah. And then here use, I don't know, Medicae. Yeah, Aegon. Sorry man, it's not that I don't care about you, but you're not my first choice. Yay, Silver Skulls. Okay, you mean you have a plasma gun, a light plasma, but didn't I have a heavy plasma gun? I had a heavy plasma gun here somewhere. Here we go, heavy plasma gun. And then Omniscion axe. I really wish I could give Pujan an Omniscion axe. Features reject the flesh. Yeah, I really wish I could give Pujan the Omniscion axe, but alas. Alas. Oh, nobles from the upper decks. Jesus, I wonder who is Ilgun? Who is Ilgun? I wonder. Yeah, we've already been here before. Yeah, nobles from the upper deck. So the guy who went cuckoo crazy is somewhere here. Fucking Ilgun. What is his name? How do I pronounce that? Ilgun. What do I pronounce it? Like Shogun, but Ilgun. Is the guy perhaps here? No. Ilgun. 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 Hey, Ilgun-kun. Mush mosh. Wait. The worker is huddled on the floor, the imprint of a mechanical hand on his shattered shoulder. Someone seized him with great force and threw him against the wall.
What is that?
Oh, this again? No, I'm not going to do this again. No, I'm not gonna do that puzzle again. I've already done that puzzle before. Lord Captain, Trisamata lies prostrate before the entrance of the bay, the faint tequila on the door, the only witness to his incoherent babbling. His hysterical wails of the righteous Trian man are interrupted from time to time by the clanging of his augmented skull against the deck. A vicious mixture of blood and oil oozes from the staples of his forehead, and his fingernails are chipped from his attempts to dig the implants out of his body. The enforcer's thunderous voice commands it to an empty ear.
Check the arsenal. The dynasty's banner is already down in shroud. Do you want me to throw you in a cell?
The spasm racks his body, and his already muddled speech turns into a frightening cacophony that barely sounds like language. Suddenly, the Trisamata pounds his head on his deck again and spews forth another medley of ragged sentences.
Please, come back alive. Mr. Helmet, soldier.
God, Emperor, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid.
The spasm repeats. Ilgun clucks his tongue in displeasure, worrying at the piston of his beard as he thinks.
The subject left the Sector Bionica prematurely. Lenses is right. I was so absorbed in some other procedure and the successful outcome that I made a mistake of unfastening the restraints before the psychological evaluation could be conducted. Rogjane, we must stabilize the Trisamata before the specimen is forever lost to us.
How the hell do we even do that?
Just as a bandage binds a wound and a patch secures damaged steel, so can words heal a fractured mind. He's bewildered and frightened. He does not understand the gift that has been given to him. Talk to him. Addressed to Trisamata. Greetings, I'm Marish Pujanovsky. I just want to talk. The numbling and head-thumping stop. The man shifts his clouded gaze to you, and you see recognition in his eyes. The Lord Captain, I serve the dynasty.
With an unpleasant clang, the man slams his augmented hand into his chest and plant with a military salute. He freezes like a stalled machine man. Then an agonizing shudder runs through his entire body, and blood trickles from the corner of his mouth.
Is this a punishment? Am I not permitted to die? I will not fear either down and shroud.
Why are you maiming yourself?
Destroy the enemy. Check the arsenal. My body is the enemy.
The man hunches over and strikes himself in the chest again and again, drooling bloody saliva. Then he straightens abruptly, lets out a wail, and starts bashing his implant even harder.
Not mine, not mine, not mine. It's gnawing at me from within, taunting me. I'll die. I'll destroy it.
Focus on what's more important, remember who you are. You have undergone a grave operation, the implants need time to settle, and your body and mind need to adapt. I promise you will feel better. Let me take a look at you, I'll ease your pain. Yeah, you've gone... His whole body shudders, then freezes abruptly. Sobbing, he whispers with a witless smile.
The pain will fade. The destiny's banner, my duty.
The Chisumata looks more stable. A little more, and you will be able to calm him down. Focus on what's important, remember who you are.
The destiny's banner, enforcer, Lorraine.
His name, he speaks his name in a drawn-out groan, but then confusion immediately clouds his gaze. He seems to have forgotten it again.
Check the arsenal, the slashing sword and bulk of the dynasty. I gave my life because of my duty. My duty.
The Chisumata stops. The poor man's shoulders slowly slump and the convulsions steadily subside. The lucidity does not last long. The amalgam's eyes soon go blank, and his mouth stretches into a blissful smile. Rocking peacefully and drooling, he murmurs broken snippets from his former life and prays to the Emperor.
Absurd! Unacceptable!
Eogan scans the Chisumata, furiously pounding the keys of the microcogitator mounted on his torso.
You have succeeded in pacifying him, but the Chisumata is rejecting the attempt of the implant's machine spirit to contain the cognitive entropy. Also, personality degradation is inevitable. I must reassemble him.
That is enough. You can leave his blissful phobia and let the Medicare of the sector bionic attend to him until the end. Mike, why the other day he has become senior to the upper decks and my officers Nova and makes sport for now. I do want to see this thing against Savage. That is enough. Leave this blissful phobia and let the Medicare of the sector bionic attend to him until the end. Like, come on. Dvisima obediently allows himself to be led away. The man keeps his eyes fixed on the Aquila, murmuring prayers until he is lost to your sight. The tech priest looks gloomier than a cloud.
Rogue trader, I am experiencing a cognitive block. I have analyzed every possible failure hypothesis and double-checked every step I made, and I have failed to identify a single mistake. The organic parts in the firm sanctum joined together perfectly. The brain was perfectly preserved. These complications should never have occurred, and yet the outcome cannot be denied. My calculations are perfectly correct, and that is an incontrovertible fact. So, was the flaw in the conditions or in the subjects themselves?
People are not machines. You tried to break down people into mechanical components. Your original hypothesis was flawed. The work of the enforcer and the priest have their own purpose. It is impossible to assemble them from a unified whole fit for all three roles and do this at the same time. People are divided into useful and the useless. All three of your test subjects were pictures. Oh, come on. People are not machines. You tried to break down their own purpose. I mean, people aren't machines, yeah. The worker, the enforcer, and priest had their own purpose. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, both of them are correct. On the one hand, people aren't machines. Yes, absolutely. The hypothesis was flawed from the beginning, but at the same time, yeah, those three people had different uses. But I think I hover more towards people aren't machines. The priests have their own purpose. Yeah, the second one is just kind of essentially saying, yeah, you just didn't do a good job enough. Like, you need to make a special machine, or like, 3 sonata for priests, 1 for enforcers, and 1 for workers. The manipulous galvanic cell crackles nervously.
My hypothesis is flawed, but how? It's inconceivable, or have I strayed and committed heresy by believing that I had comprehended the nature of the machine god, but thinking we are simpler creatures than him? Rogue Leader, I thank you for your contribution to our research. Nuncius and I can now call you colleague in all earnestness. I need to think, rethink, and discuss this new data with Nuncius. Please find me on the bridge later. We must discuss the results of the experiment.
Okay, boss. The mangled Aquila from the entrance gleams in a puddle of oil and blood, the only remainder of this incident. It is incidentes, yes.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Man, Pepsi Max Mango is so good. Hmm. Watch them remove this because not enough people are buying this. I had this happen before with iced tea. Years ago when I was studying, I would drink a lot of iced tea, and they would have mango iced tea. So here in Germany, the usual boring flavors, in my opinion, not they're boring, in my opinion, but the two main flavors we have is peach and lemon. Lemon is kind of okay. Peach is not really all that great. Um, and then at one point, Little introduced mango iced tea. Sometimes in a big pile of bottles, you would find a 6-pack of mango iced tea. And I loved that shit. That shit was extremely good. And then over the years, like less and less of these 6-packs were in the pile until eventually there was just none left. Which was very depressing or saddening to me because I was I really loved like the iced tea, but alas, not enough people like it. And even my dad was confused. He was like, "What do you mean mango didn't do well?" I'm like, "Yeah, the do well. There is no more of it. The only time you get it now is in a inferior version, once in a blue moon in a Tetra Pak. And I mean, it's not bad, but could be better, you know." Hey, Irgun.
Rogue Trader, your timing is impeccable. I am ready to discuss the fascinating experiment we have been conducting in the Sector Bionica and on other decks.
Isn't Insis jealous of your new cyber companion?
A preposterous notion. My cybernetic companion is merely an auxiliary tool. It is far less sophisticated than Nuncius, and lacks his outstanding communication skills and sharp intellect.
Truly, you detect not a whit of jealousy in the Silver Skulls' gaze. You wanted to discuss the results of the so-called Trisomata experiment.
Indeed. After processing all the data, including your invaluable contribution to the outcome of the experiment, my dear colleague and I engaged in a lengthy debate. My cognitive block has been resolved at last.
Okay.
I have come to the conclusion that the only correct decision in the context of this experiment was not to conduct it in the first place. My methods were correct and my intentions good, but I clung to my hypothesis to the last, in blind defiance of Nuncius's arguments and objective reality. I was attempting to wring usefulness out of people like charge from a dying battery. But regardless of how well and long a battery served before, when it is finally depleted, isn't the more rational response to dispose of it and replace it with a new one? Righteousness is a trait of these people, but it is not their primary function. I see that now.
I mean, if the battery is rechargeable, but I'm going to assume he means even if you continue doing that. But what of the Trisomata?
As you instructed, he is being tended to in the Sector Bionica. His cognitive functions have almost entirely failed, and only the Omnissiah's mercy keeps him from losing all mobility. The Triosomata spends his days bowed in prayer, or so we presume, since he has lost all verbal capacity. He appears to be at peace.
Does Nuncius agree with you?
We have managed to reach a consensus on the root of the problem. The rest can be overlooked. He is not convinced by all my conclusions, but that is no terrible thing. He and I share a common path, but we each have our own methods of comprehending it.
You have learned something valuable, which means this experiment was not in vain.
Precisely. A man chooses what he is made of. Regrets for his past mistakes, or the experience he gained from them. Only those who choose the latter course can attain true wisdom. I wish to thank you. You helped me cope with a situation that was beyond my control, and to recognize my mistakes. And that is worth a great deal. I was considering using this implant in an experiment, but I thought it too valuable to waste on the laity. Please, accept it as a gift.
The manipulous bows, presenting you with a package. Using combat stimulants does not inflict negative effect. Ooh. Whenever the user grants an ally an extra turn, any stimulants used by that ally during this turn do not inflict negative effects. I mean, stimulants are drugs, so Puja not having negative effects from drugs. Ooh. Do we double down on the drug Puja now? I'd like to learn more about you.
But can anyone truly know the essence of another person? For a veil of words often shrouds meaning that cannot be discovered in one brief conversation. Then again, all the greatest works on human nature began with scant material. Ask your questions, rogue trader.
Where do you hail from?
Stygius 8 is a forge world located on one of the moons of a gas giant in the binary star system of Vulcanus. A magnificent place. Stretching from horizon to horizon, mighty manufactorums crisscross the moon's surface, producing armaments and equipment. For the armies of the Segmentum Solar, the designs and patterns we produce are unequaled in the galaxy. The huge titans of the Legio Honorum tower over cohorts of Skitari, making ready to escort countless expeditions, ravenous for knowledge and lost technology. And beneath them, deep within the moon itself, lies a labyrinth of archives and laboratories, where many sages cultivate knowledge and conduct experiments in the name of understanding the will of the machine god. Nuncius and I spent our adolescence and part of our adulthood there, before we were permitted to leave our cells for the cabins of expedition ships and the tents of field camps. I miss my home, but I do not regret leaving it, for stagnation is the enemy of knowledge.
Why do you wear black robes and all tech priests wear red?
No, not all. The robes of tech priests often vary from world to world. They're imbued with symbolism that reflects the principles of a particular branch of the tech priesthood. Red is the color of Mars. It is present in the robes of each world as an homage to the red planet. White symbolizes the purity of machines and sacred augmetics.
What about black then?
One is compelled to carry a certain stigma living on Stygius 8. Certain theological disputes often lead to conflict with our fellow clergy. Black symbolizes our guardedness and otherness, while with red we emphasize the purity of our faith in the Omnissiah and our fellowship with the rest of the cult Mechanicus.
Good evening, nobody. Hello. I take it Vega is done with her stream then. Damn it, I can't rate her. A hydration? Hey, I will not turn down an opportunity to drink more Pepsi Max Mango. But how's it going, nobody? How you doing on this fine Saturday evening? A couple of hours ago. Oh, okay, I thought you just finished. What theological disputes do you have with the other tech priests?
The tech priests of Stygius 8 are most dogged in their acquisition of samples of xenotechnology. Under our doctrine, any methods used to gain an advantage over the enemies of humanity are justified, so long as they do not cross the line into heresy. As you may have guessed, where exactly that line lies has been the subject of debate and discord for centuries. This means that we are often compelled to ensure a certain level of secrecy in our work, which only increases suspicions about our world. But for the sake of the Imperium's victory, we are prepared to live with this stigma. That is an incontrovertible fact.
You know, I just finished getting what I need for dinner. Oh, what are you making for dinner? What did you get? What did you get for dinner? What do you plan on making? Oh, more food talk, man. You're making me hungry. Tell me what your reason. What is it you're trying to understand?
I have dedicated my life to many questions. The blessings of the fusion of organics and machines, the search for virtue in their separate existence, the possibility of prolonging the functioning of flesh through genetics and alchemy. The machine god is perfect in all his manifestations. This is the truth and an incontrovertible fact. But it seems to me that attempts to become like him exclusively through augmetics, though good in their righteousness, do not fully reflect his design. For the organic body is nothing but a biological machine whose components can be replaced and improved by genetic transmutation.
I suppose.
I believe the truth lies somewhere between these two paths, and both lead to my ultimate goal, my magnum opus, to challenge death itself as a phenomenon, bringing humanity closer to the eternity of the Omnissiah.
Oof. What did you do before you arrived on Altar Templum Calexis X-17?
I may not look it, but I am a wanderer and a pilgrim. Nuncius and I have led research expeditions with the aim of finding relics and artifacts and advancing the quest for knowledge. I have also endeavored to learn from my colleagues at every opportunity, developing my expertise in genetics, hermetics, and augmetics. We have visited more than one world, voyaged on more than one ship, and got our hands dirty more than once, both literally and figuratively.
What was it like living on Altar Templum Calexis X-17?
Many secrets lie within that blessed temple fortress. I spent decades there, but still I am not certain that I discovered all of them. However, the station's clergy are not known for their insularity for nothing. They are quite reluctant to make contact with the laity, or even other tech priests. Nuncius and I were lucky that our skills were in demand, and we were able to ensconce ourselves in that fountain of wisdom.
I bought a duck, so I'll probably end up using sweet potato and parsnips I bought the other day. Oh, that sounds delicious. Oh, sweet potato. On the pot. Nah, you making me super hungry. Like there's a stuffing? I mean, in any case, that sounds tasty. That sounds yum yum.
Alas, the doctrine of isolation and the intransigence of several colleagues had brought my research to a standstill.
I'm coming over.
And so I
I
seized
want
the
some as well.
opportunity to join your retinue.
You dig a certain longing in Ergen's gaze, nostalgia for his time spent on the station. Jesus. Wait, I was meant to get a 95. Wait, Jesus Christ. Wait, Pascal was also serving a Altar Temple and Calexis X-17 back then. You two weren't acquainted?
The Omnissiah's providence did not bring us together. The temple is quite vast, and it is no surprise that two learned men never once crossed paths. After all, each of us is blessed with our own function, and fulfilling that function is a solitary effort. Really? My dearest colleague states that Magos Haneman and I once passed each other in Service Conduit 91-R. The esteemed Magos chided me for some minor neglect in the presentation of my augments, after which, having each voiced our opinions, we parted ways. It seems I considered this event to be inconsequential, and it has escaped my memory, as has mine. Questions can reveal more about the asker than anything they may say about themselves.
We finally opened a bottle of wine I got as a housewarming gift. You know what? Do it. Or wait until the marriage. What I did, I got myself a bottle of Tokai. A Tokai, that is a Hungarian wine, when I moved to my university city. And, it was usually meant to be open for a special occasion, which I was interpreting back then as like a date or something. But eventually I drank the bottle, well, alongside my parents and a few other people, when I graduated and got my bachelor's degree. So, yeah, I would say either wait for the marriage to open that, or just Yeah, I have it right now. I mean, technically, the dock is or like the preparation is technically a special occasion, if you ask me. I mean, yeah, so yeah, either now or wait for the marriage, or ogle it after, like in private or something. Oh no. Your speech differs from that of other tech priests. It is less mechanistic.
To think that all tech priests speak exclusively like machines is a widespread misconception among the laity. We may strive to draw closer to the machine god, but we remain part of the human race. How exactly a tech priest achieves this oneness is the choice of each individual ordained in the priesthood of Mars, depending largely on personal characteristics, practical considerations, and interpretations of the tenets of the faith. Of course, many attune their language to machine cant or even prefer not to use flesh speak at all. It is then easier for them to make contact with machine spirits.
Is that special of a bottle? I just want something that pairs well, to be honest. In that case, drink it now. I mean, if it, yeah, that case, open that shit right now, bro. Just, just.
For myself, however, a key aspect of the machine god is his omniscience. I gather wisdom, and that includes from communicating with laypersons. To this end, standard low Gothic has so far proved to be the most useful. However, this does not negate the fact that I am able to speak all the binaric dialects of Mars, if circumstances so demand.
I want to know more about
I can only
augmentics.
encourage such a thirst for knowledge. Ask away.
What is the Adeptus Mechanicus view on augmentations among the
A
laity?
difficult question, and thus an interesting one. From the perspective of the cult Mechanicus, augmentation is an unalloyed good. Flesh is weak, and replacing it brings us closer to the Omnissiah. But this good is also a supreme privilege. Every augmetic is a man-made miracle that glorifies the machine god. And not every layperson is worthy of such a blessing.
What kind of wine is it, if I may ask? Red wine, white wine, sweet, dry?
The majority of laypersons
Please don't tell me it's dry.
organs are at
Am I
best
the only one who
furnished with
enjoys
the most
non-dry wine?
rudimentary prosthetics, if any at all. The exceptions are those who hold key posts in the Imperium, or who cannot perform their duties without replacing their organics with more efficient equivalents. And naturally, there are exceptional individuals, such as rogue traders, who can afford the best augments at the wave of their hand. Or rather, its loss. Just think about it. You are one of untold billions, and you succeeded in becoming a statistical improbability. How could one perceive anything in these metaphysical mathematics but the design of the machine god?
So, what augments do you have?
I have a great many of them, and most possess rather esoteric functions that are difficult to explain to a layperson. The most obvious is the galvanic cell. My hull is quite heavy, so it is supported by a gravitic core, mechadendrites, of course, an alembic with an alchemical synthesizer, auxiliary cogitators, an eye with magnifiers and analyzers, a respiratory... My dearest colleague suggests that my answer is becoming tiresome. If you are curious, I would be pleased to attempt to compose a treatise on my construction. But the more difficult task will be to give it a form comprehensible to a layperson.
He's coping that he's fat. Hypothetically, if a lumen burned out in one of my chambers, could you go and
With
revive
a
it?
suitable source of motive force to redistribute, I could light up the lumens of an entire deck, rogue trader. However, I do hope that is not the only application you will find for my talents.
Is it Pinot Noir? I don't know enough about wine to know what that means. Classic pairing for duck. Okay. Okay. If you say so. So take it, it's, I mean, Pinot Noir. Noir is black, so probably a red wine. I really don't know enough about wine. It's red. Oh, okay, so it's a red wine. I knew that, I was just testing you. Yeah, I knew that. See, I was just testing it to see if you actually know. I definitely didn't try to somehow deduce what it means. No. You need face rather too organic. Most tech priests have more implants.
If my physiognomy offends you, there is no need to hide it behind feigned interest. However, I will answer on the hypothesis that your question is sincere. My face looks as it does because that is how I prefer it. A Vox grill is practical, but there is something about speaking my thoughts aloud via an organic vocal apparatus. Consider it my little extravagance. Besides, appearances are deceiving. My internals have been extensively augmented, and I am fully fluent in lingua technis and binaric. My dearest colleague amply meets all other communication needs.
With his silence, Nuncius makes it clear that the communication need for further discussion has been decisively met. And it is dry if you wanted to know. Ew. Ew. Fucking. Am I genuinely the only one who hates dry wine and prefers sweet wine? I mean, for cooking, I suppose I would use a dry wine, but no, the fucking dry wine. How do you people drink that? Ew. Whenever I've tried a dry wine, like, take a sip and I just go, yeah, put that shit away. Put that shit away. Like, if I have a dry wine, I think I had a dry wine once in my university, and I exclusively used it for cooking after having tried it once. Like, I was like, ew. Hey, Pan, you want to use this for cooking? Yeah? Well, here you go, man. Here, get drunk on the dry wine. Even have another guy, a friend of mine, who's very much into dry wine, and he's trying to coerce me into it sometimes. I'm just like, man, don't. Man, don't. I don't. This just ain't my thing. I just don't like dry wine. I'll take sweet red wine, I'll take sweet white wine, but dry? Like, even in Germany have like semi-dry. Like it's in between, but it's still way too dry for me. I mean, maybe I'm just a baby boy because I drink my coffee by having 50% milk, 50% coffee, so maybe I'm just not the target audience. I'm curious about Nuncius.
My dearest colleague is incredibly flattered by the attention. Please, ask your questions.
What is he?
He is my dearest colleague and indispensable assistant.
But a service goes incapable of complex thought. How can he be your colleague?
A superb question. It is quite difficult to explain to a lay person, but I will try. To put it quite crudely, Nuncius helps me to think. He constitutes an exceptionally complex network of algorithms that augment my own. They contain conflicting points of view that seek out flaws in my reasoning, and information that is more useful to me if it is not kept in my own head. So I delegate it to him. He is wholly unique.
You're gonna be honest with you, if Nuncius an abominable intelligence? Nah, that would be insulting to ask. No, he himself said right now he is. How long have you two been together?
We have shared a cell since our novitiate on Styges 8. 138 planetary cycles and 72 days have elapsed since then. It may not be accurate in a temporal sense, but you could say we have been together my whole life.
A warm smile touches Irgens' lips. Nuncius, I wish to speak to you.
I will take it upon myself to interpret his words, but I beg your pardon in advance for falling far short of my dearest colleague in terms of rhetorical elegance.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
Why is this so funny to me? Goes up to Servo Skull, gets told it can understand me. Can you understand me? Yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
I like to imagine by me continuously like doing the can you understand me? I just keep looking at the Servo Skull and just go, can you understand me? Can you understand me? Can you understand me? Can you understand? The guy keeps saying, yes he can, yes he can, yes he can, and I just keep asking it like, can you understand me? Hey, can you understand me, brother? Can you understand me? Hey. Why are you always
Your
silent?
presumption is incorrect. Nuncius is really rather chatty and holds strong views on every conceivable topic, which he does not hesitate to express at the first opportunity. Alas, you, as a layperson, are unable to hear his fiery declarations and witty remarks. Nuncius categorizes this fact as regrettable.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
What is your opinion on... What is your opinion on Irgun?
Yes, Nuncius, I will relay it verbatim. He says that I possess a remarkable mind and excellent practical skills, but my excitability, especially combined with my stubbornness to the point of ossification, would have stunted my development were it not for his thoughtful advice and fair criticism. He also adds that the thought of working with anyone other than me evokes repulsion and outrage in him. The value coefficient of our relationship is extremely high in his catalogue.
Admit it, you're really the clever one in this partnership, aren't you?
Nuncius, what an appalling thing to say. Our partnership is perfectly equal. Keep your mischief-making to yourself and don't mislead the rogue trader.
He essentially said yes. How many times a day does Irgun say this is an incontrovertible fact?
That cannot be right. That often? Yes, Nuncius, I would be obliged if you would assist in monitoring my vocabulary. But watch that superior tone of yours,
It's a rogue trader, it's in the name, look at the title. Watch that spirit. Thank you for the conversation, Nuncius.
Nuncius states that this conversation has stimulated and enriched him.
That's all I wanted
Nuncius
was.
says that he will leave a channel for inquiries about his biography and personal qualities open for you, rogue trader.
He said rogue trader. He said it again. He said it again.
You mentioned that you have knowledge of
The
Xenos.
rank of Genitor grants me the right to study their foul anatomy and behavior for the purposes of identifying their weaknesses. I have personally dissected more than one specimen, and have even preserved specific body parts for further investigation. I research and study their technology to the same end. There is no shame in using our enemies' weapons against them, no matter what some narrow-minded colleagues may say.
I agree. And what kind of Xenos do you study?
The mythical kind, shall we say.
What's that supposed
The
to mean?
subject of my research is an ancient, unusually advanced xeno-civilization. Some among the tech clergy call them Niflimics, believing them to be the first creations of the Omnisire. Others call them Iron Anathemas, considering them to be the
Necrons.
spawn of abominable
Necrons.
intelligence. But the initiated know them as Necrons. And believe me, the hand of the machine god has never touched these monstrous creatures.
Necrons.
After more than 1 decade of searching, I have amassed a modest collection of objects that belonged to these Necrons. But I have never succeeded in understanding the purpose of most of them. Many believe that Necrons died out long ago, leaving behind only ruins of black rock. But I do not believe so. They exist still, and they are closer than they seem.
God, I love dry wine. I love drinking straight acid that gives me a dry mouth. Well, I'm glad you don't enjoy being happy, man. Though, you do need a bit of happiness in your life, you know, like, take it from someone with depression. There are dildos out there less painful than. You talk to me like something like pulled by the fucking. That's. Yeah, pleasant flavors are for pussies. Good thing I am. Believe I would. I'm trying. Oh, Jesus. You have heard from drunken voidfarers dread tales and speculation about metal creatures that do not know death. None of these stories ever sounded plausible, let alone convincing. Maybe these drunk voidfarers actually had port wine. That's why they're drunken and believe Necrons are. Why do you believe they are alive?
I have encountered inconsistencies in my research. Ghost colonies with fresh tracks that match the descriptions of these xenos from various sources. Adeptus Mechanicus expeditions that plunged into obsidian ruins, never to return. Gaps in the knowledge repositories of individual worlds, as if someone had been trying to hide information. In isolation, all these are unexplained coincidences. But if I analyze the cumulative frequency of the events and the systems in which they occurred, and compare them to the few things I do know, I can detect certain patterns. The ancient Xenos are exhibiting activity.
Activity. This sounds like basic speculation at best, and dreams passed off as a reality at worst. How hard did I fail? What objects do you have in your collection?
That's the beauty of it. I don't know. Allow me to specify. It includes objects of mostly regular forms, cubes, spheres.
I've been drawing too
cylinders,
many of those
made
recently.
Of unknown black stone or metal. Many are covered in glyphs or patterns that cannot be deciphered. Fascinating trinkets that I have spent years studying, but have never progressed beyond flimsy theories that cannot be confirmed experimentally. Perhaps my approach is fundamentally flawed, or the objects are non-functional. Or perhaps they simply do not want anyone to root out their secrets. It's a mystery. A stimulating mystery.
Hold on, doesn't like hold on, isn't there like hold on, let me word my thoughts. So like the smell of alcohol or like wine, like fermentation, right? And from what I've been deducing over the past few years, is that if it smells unpleasant, there's like some traces of sulfur in there. So, what if we just take grape juice? We take the essence of a fart and just inject it into grape juice. Because farts are like, you know, stinky, because there's like traces of sulfur in there. Just. Is that how we get dry wine? Let's talk about something else.
I look forward to seeing what new topic of discussion you propose.
You wish to debate. Let's begin with something simple. What is the meaning of life?
Splendid. It has been a long time since I last had a worthy opponent. Not including my dearest colleague, of course. So, to the topic. I have never understood why some thinkers present this question as something profound, when the answer is utterly trivial. The meaning of life is determined by a person's position in the hierarchy of the Imperium and where he or she is deployed. But ultimately, what it comes down to is supporting the functioning of the system. The worker produces or processes a resource. The soldier destroys enemies. The governor ensures order and the shipment of tithes. The meaning of my life is to advance the quest for knowledge, thus fulfilling the function granted to me by the Omnissiah. As I said, an utterly unoriginal question.
Nunsius, do you agree?
My dearest colleague has accused me of oversimplifying matters. He believes that in trying to convey my point of view, I neglected many of the nuances you set forth in the question, and thus gave a trite answer myself. But he considers the general premise to be correct, albeit riddled with holes.
Do you truly believe the meaning of existence can be reduced to one's function?
Absolutely. You may perceive that as a cynical view, but I am merely cutting away all that is superfluous. Humans are not simple creatures. I could regale you for hours with the nuances of the structure of the body and consciousness, and cite theosophical and philosophical musings, but it makes no difference. As long as a person fulfills their function, their life has meaning.
He actually makes an extremely good point. And what the hell is my function? It's been a question I've been trying to answer for 27 years, and I still have no answer. And what is my function meaning of my life?
You are the quintessence of the will of the Imperium. Your purpose in life is to expand it and strengthen its power where other subjects cannot reach. You do not explore the frontier. You are the frontier.
So to simplify it even further, the thing with the one's function, the Imperium is the meaning of our lives then.
Brilliant! You have grasped the very crux of the matter and articulated it with concision. Nuntius, make note of the rogue trader's phrasing, and I will add it to my catalogue of arguments. Am I right in thinking that we have reached a consensus?
Not quite. Faith in the God Emperor is more important than any function. Without faith, there is no Imperium.
So, as you see it, I am confusing cause and effect. Faith, as the supreme directive, grants meaning to our every action. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all, and we make it the meaning of our lives to emulate him. I am impressed by your arguments. They have given me fertile ground for reflection. I thank you for the interesting discussion, rogue trader.
Well, I must take my leave.
I find our conversation stimulating, and I will look forward to your next visit.
Okay. Well, okay, it is 1:24 a.m. As much as I want to continue streaming, the past few times I've had an art lesson at 10 a.m. in the morning. Last time I actually felt like I was still asleep by the time I should have been awake. So instead of starting the main quest, I'll just continue with a bit of dialogue here and then go to sleep. Hey Cassia.
Words cannot describe how boring the
So
bridges
what does
of
your
our
special
palace
side
seem.
reveal?
Febris's mind is so multifaceted. Azure, cobalt, indigo. How great is his drive to understand
You can tell this
the
was like,
workings of
this isn't the
world.
same
But
phone booth.
somewhere inside, in the very substance of all this blue, there is a cocoon of terracotta that holds within it some grievous feeling. It almost eludes my sight, but it absorbs all other hues. And sooner or later, it will consume them all, leaving nothing behind.
I will at one point have to learn what each color means in terms of emotions, just so I understand Cassia. Because I swear she uses these fancy things like this color means like this, I see this color in them, and there's this picture with this ogre. Oh, hold on. Hold on. So this here is essentially me.
Everyone called Ogre stupid, and it's true. Ogre barely even literate. Ogre finally finished reading Ulysses, but Ogre can only identify surface-level themes like religion and nationalism, and can't comprehend deeper ideas like the remorse of conscience that make James Joyce's novel a modernist classic. Ogre is so dumb, it makes Ogre sad. At this rate, Ogre will never understand Phineas Wake.
This is me with like anything that isn't just surface level, like anything detailed, and it makes me feel very stupid. like just talking about all these colors, like, oh, this person, like, I can see hues of red and yellow, and I'm just sitting there like, red and yellow, that's like mustard and ketchup mixed together. That's a good combination. I should really look up like stuff like that. Let's talk about this, eh?
Right here? Are you sure?
Oh, okay, let's discuss other things then.
Of course.
I don't want to end this relationship. Like, she a big woman. Hey, Einrig.
With Captain, pleasure to see you again. I see you kept the arbitrator on board.
Einrig casts a glance at Solomon's direction and shakes his head.
Don't get me wrong, our ships and forces are heavy-handed enough as it is, but our BTs are notorious for their brutality. I've told my Inferni to steer clear of the esteemed Proctor and his dog if they can help it, just to be on the safe side. In other words, we're treating your new ally with the utmost fear and respect.
Yeah. The servant's dog vocal cords were recently replaced with a silver-plated vox implant. Hey, Argenta.
Greetings.
Oh, okay. Hey, you have anything to say? Okay, no. Who else has new stuff? Letard Furious? Who are you? A man of indeterminate age bows his head. His robes are spotless, and his rigid collar constricts his throat. The unsettling smell of medicine hangs in the air, and the man's pale eyes look bleached. Greetings, Lord Captain. Your Kurgan Majoris is at your service. What are your responsibilities? My job is to save lives, heal wounded officers, develop vaccines for on-board epidemics, discover new methods of healing. However, I spend most watches listening to patients about their many qualms, managing the junior Medicaid offices, and dividing the afflicted into those who matter and those who do not. A rather irritating addition to my duties as Kurgan Majoris. Not the most compassionate of healers, are you? Compassion has nothing to do with the healer's trade. I prefer conversing with diseases rather than their carriers. Patients are aggravating. What sort of new methods? There are many. I'm an ever in search of solutions to dangerous afflictions. My latest work involves studying a particular lethal disease that devours the person's flesh and skin. It's already claimed dozens of lives, but their deaths were not in vain. I've learned much about the enemy, and a vaccine will soon be ready for testing. I see. How do you come to serve on my flagship? I was the master healer on the world that belongs to the Korda dynasty. I had managed to cure someone who was considered doomed, not because of their illness, but because a certain self-important priest had tried to cure him with a prayer and failed. After I put him to shame, he started spreading rumors that I owed my skill to the influence of the ruinous powers. I sought refuge in the Lady Theodora, who expressed an appreciation for my talents and welcomed me and my family on her ship. You're not actually a heretic, or you serve the Emperor faithfully, and the customs of Quarter were truly so uncompromising and blind to reason? You teach a man to read, you raise a bright heretic, I believe was one of the favorite local sayings. As for demonstrating the superiority of knowledge over the advice of holy ecclesiarchs, well, that kind of defiance was sure to put my life at risk. Naturally, House Corda was still in need of people like me, educated and capable intellectual thought. However, anyone who is permitted to learn does so under strict supervision. I have heard Lady Incendia's ship has a dedicated compartment for sages and keepers of knowledge that more resembles a prison than a librarium. Faith can work miracles and cure those who are beyond treatment. This cannot be denied. He grimaces warily, and neither can one deny the fact that miracles are rare. The belief that prayer can relieve a person of illness enables false hopes. Those who prefer healing themselves with fervent words still end up on my table, so that I can perform an autopsy rather than procure. There's something else I wish to discuss. He nods, brushing away invisible specks from his white gloves. How's the crew's health? Are you interested in a general report on the ship as a whole, or hearing about how your immediate subordinates are faring? The general report. I'm currently not aware of any epidemics or large-scale threats to the lives of the crew, or anything more serious than normal, at least. Many outbreaks are part of the natural decline process. The Medicae are occupied with treating both industrial and combat injuries, as well as dealing with sporadically occurring ailments. Senior officers, what kind of complaints do they have? Master Hellsman headaches caused by his faulty implants. The Hefectotem's occasional indigestion. The Master at Arms' combat wounds that can hardly be considered life-threatening. Furious falls a finger dismissively for every officer he mentions. Rapid cases that I'm obligated to manage as Kurgan Majoris. At least the Infernus Master does not waste my time and simply comes to pick up ointments for his burns. Well, other matters. That will be all. Okay, so just my Kurgan. Didn't even know I had him here. Hey Vigdis, anything interesting? Nothing, okay. Bridge officer, bridge technomat. Sourback, anything interesting? That's all. Like, can I just, like, augment myself here without having... Yeah, okay. So, I'm legitimately considering to insert this into Pujansa's body. I mean, 3 stacks of Ferrum Sanctum. I mean, more shock damage is bad, yes. But, I mean, no downsides to drugs. Oh, who am I kidding? Just put that shit on him. Puja now doesn't give a flying fuck about drugs. Ooh, Jesus. He suffers 60% more shock damage. Oi, 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 oi. Hey, Jay.
May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored without our little talk, Shireen?
No.
Oh.
I don't grow bored of your talks. Hey, Pascal.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all.
Oh, I thought you'd have something to say about, Fatso over there. Yadira, Navigator, Cabela. I don't want to talk with Cabela. I really don't want to talk with Cabela. It's not that I have anything against her, but she scares me. I'm a lord.
Lord Captain. Lord Captain.
Lord Captain, Lord Captain, Lord Captain, Lord Captain. Denrock. I'd like to replace Theodora in my chambers, hang my portrait instead. Nah. I mean, anything interesting here? I mean, I can't even afford most of the things down here, so I don't see a reason to. Staff of Endless Flame, I'm just gonna sell that one. Apex Predator. Whenever target dodges to use this one. Oh yeah, that one. Oh, but the Ogren Grip thing. 2 melee, 2-handed, two? Wait, no. I can equip 2-handed melee weapons in this hand. Wait, so that means I can have a 2-handed and a 1-handed one, but not 2 2-handed ones. I need... Okay, no, then I'm not interested in this. The background gets 0+1 rate of fire strike on any weapon capable of boost attacks. Ah. Full hammer, yeah, sure. Splinter pistol. Skull crushers. The Furious Assault ability. Suffer 14 levels of bleeding, immediately suffer an additional instance of damage from this effect. That could actually be good on Pujan. Like, I think you can just, like, transfer that, right? Use a dash for an enemy with a full cell radius to sell the enemy up and makes a melee attack. Oh, so it's just charge, but better. Drusus Prime Pattern. Shontgun. Breacher Boots. Awakened Nightmare. Ooh. Industrial Hammer. It's not better than whatever I have. Precinct Vox Relay. Unealith. Carnage. Yeah, but it's one-handed axes. Why aren't there two-handed axes? Well, there are, but Grimace of the Void. This Grimoire increases the chance of triggering a psychic phenomena by +15. All warp damage dealt by its spirit is increased by 4. Where did you get that from, huh? Where do you have this? Why do you have this? This would be very good though. Like this on the Sandra would be very good. I mean, weapon and ballistic skill, it's not like she really does a lot of that anyways, so holy gifts are like #1. Well, good thing I have some holy gifts. Number 2 would be jewelry. Do I have some jewelry? I do indeed have some jewelry. And then it's just, yeah, everything else is kind of just new. Armor kit. I have tons of fuel. Uniform kit, melee weapons, more holy gifts. Do I have more holy gifts? I do indeed have more holy gifts. So more jewelry. More jewelry. Okay, level 7, great. +2 MP at the start of combat and +1 MP at the start of each subsequent turn. Rusty Heavy Rock Saw. So what the hell does that mean? So I just get like it's a secondary weapon. I can just have Pujan just use a saw. Like each attack with this heavy rock saw performs several strikes. If a strike hits the target, all subsequent strikes automatically hit. If the strike is dodge or parried, all subsequent strikes automatically dodge or parried. Okay, but I can't give it to Abelard. No, I can't. Where's your heavy bolter? Why weren't you carrying your heavy bolter? Hey, Lissandra, you wanna... Oh, this is so useless. Cassia, hey, Cassia, do you want the... Wait, who is melee that they could actually use this? Sure. Not that I have a plan on using it like that, but sure. Sure. What else did I get? I got this 3 MP. What is the MP bonus based on? Intelligence bonus. I mean, Lissandra could use that very well. Enemies within the where is this area of attack suffer well, area of attack. Oh yeah, remember I have to like always end by her having this out. Or just have her... You know what? Nah, I want this instead. I don't want to think about things like that. Single attacks with bolter weapons automatically hit the target. What else did I get? I got this robe. This here, yes. But she loses 10 toughness, but with this she'll deal more damage with psychic and navigator powers. And plus 10 willpower. Yeah. Actually, the ballistic skill might be a good call. Because of the Weber, and I do like using the Weber. Do I give her... Do I make her tougher? Nah, dude, there's 95 willpower, that's... No targets have suffered willpower against this ability. What about here? Applies a minus 10 penalty to perception for all attacks made against aware and all enemies. Didn't I have this thing here? Oh, ranged attacks. I mean, Pujan. I mean, 10 perception. What was perception? Enemies dodge chance. Attack made against aware and all enemies. Well, it applies a minus 10 penalty to perception for all enemies that made an attack against the wearer and to all enemies in a 2-cell radius from the wearer. Which means Pujan has a higher chance of hitting them. This gives Pujan like another chance to survive a hit if it gets that. Nah, I think I'd rather have him survive another blow. Okay, order shipping of transportation goods. What else do we have? Oh yeah, there's this flamer pistol. But Enforcer Carapace, 10 armor against human enemies and 10 dodge. This user can move through enemies. Each creature in the path suffers 35 impact damage. But minus 25% parry. The wearer can use shield swing with their shield against multiple enemies in the area. The wearer's shield attack deals an additional 7 damage. That would be big on Abelard, but I need to get to 9. I mean, do I have any more like holy relics? No, I don't. Well, then I have nothing to send to you guys. Power axe. Yet, one-handed, man. Silky body glove. This glove grants a plus 20% dodge against enemies with perception lower than that of the wearer. Plus 10 dodge against ranged attacks. If the wearer is an overseer, the first overseer augment ability costs 0 AP. Yeah. Galvanic Carapace. The user's single melee attacks cause chain lightning, dealing 22 shock damage. Oi. Oi. Oh, but then the drugs don't work. Yeah, no, okay. Bead of Concentration. The wearer gains additional 1 AP for each consecutive turn that the wearer has not moved. Use against plus 15 pre-wounds from combat stimulants. the drogas. The drogas. The first use of any combat stimulant button costs 0 AP. So whenever Pujan just drugs himself, he becomes tankier. Stun grenade charge collected. The wearer gains plus 1 AP per round when they fire the first shot from an arc rifle or magnum. Okay. Deadly repeater. Visor of Inevitability. Whenever the wearer inflicts a damage over time effect, they gain +1 stack of Inevitability. As soon as the wearer gains 10 stacks of Inevitability, they deal 2 direct damage. All enemies suffering from any damage over time effects on the stacks of Inevitability are removed. Yeah. 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 It's... yeah. Because each time the wearer spends 10 stacks of tactical advantage, they gain +1 resolve. Call me sad boots. Whenever the wearer chooses an ally as the target ability, the wearer immediately gains +1 NP. The target ally gains +1 NP at the start of the ally's next turn. Oh, that's huge. That would be huge on Cassia. But 50. Oh, do you just not like me? This shit is expensive, bro. When am I meant to afford this? Fellowship of the Void. Yeah, where do you guys got all this stuff from? Yeah, and then here, I mean... Void Eldari trophies. Ship components get 200 and fuel 100. I have more ship components I don't really need. More ship components. Void Heretic trophies. Oh, you guys will take these. Yep. Ah, come on. Here, have some fuel. Level 6. Provides 95 points of protection for each sector. This amount is doubled against enemy blast attacks. Yup. Direct upgrade. Casbella commission. Yeah, Heretic trophies, Xeno artifacts. Mechanicus creations. Do you guys like Mechanicus creations? 200. Do you guys like Mechanicus creations? You guys like Mechanicus creations? Hold on, just bring it to the Explorators because, well, it's technically my job. Armor kit. Ranged weapons, Mechanicus creations. Ranged weapons, Mechanicus. Yep. But keep some of it just with me. You never know when it becomes useful. Slick body glove. Yes, this body glove thing here. Who has super high perception? You have perception of 60. Perception of 45. Perception of 50, 40, 30. So perception 40. So the only one that could be useful on would be Cassia. Dodge against human enemies, but she gains 10 agility. But the 10 agility... I mean, she gains +10 demolition.
I'm afraid not.
But she also gains more dodge chance. Agility. Agility measures a character's quickness, reflexes, and poise. High agility allows a character to manipulate delicate explosive finesse, keep their footing when crossing treacherous terrain. It provides characters initiative, dodge chance, and reaction. If a character uses a melee weapon, their dodge reduction is equal to half of their agility. I mean, initiative. High initiative. Yeah, no, this is better. Just... yeah, I mean, she loses 20 dodge chance, but... Nah. I mean, can she use it? If the owner's perception, we have lower perception than that of the wearer. I mean... just 12% of the wearer's willpower is more than 40. I mean, there's no guarantee Because perception is only 45, and I think lots of enemies have had way more than that. I mean, you have 40 perception. You have 50 perception, 35, 40. You don't exist to me. Yeah, sure. Wear this. Be happy that I decide to acknowledge your existence. Holy vestment. Comprehend all. Yeah, you exist, I guess. What do I do with you? Here you go, wear this. Wear this. Single attack inflicts stunned on a target for 1 round. Yeah, no, wear this instead. Ooh, you look fancy. Sake of versatility. Yeah, that would be good on her. The medic, yeah. No, I don't need this. I don't need that. Doesn't give commerce? Yeah. Is an overseer, she isn't. You take this. It's an overseer. I think he's an overseer. Ah. He doesn't wear it. Enemy attacks made against the wearer. Death Cult's blade. What orientation is he? I would assume he's either dogmatic or an iconoclast. Iconoclast with a hint of heresy in there. Yeah, that also doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. No. No. Okay, save game. Stream. Right, it is almost 2 a.m.